Chip Kelly won his first game as 49ers head coach. He's lost 9 straight since. First-year head man in the NFL, Adam Gase, a 1-4 start. They've won 5 in a row. Injuries a big factor today. And for more on that, here's Holly Saunders.
Yes, Tom, you mentioned that Miami is on a hot streak. They've won 5 in a row. And if they want to make it 6 in a row, they're really going to have to overcome some key injuries to their O-line today. Laramie Tunsil is out. Also Brandon Albert and Mike Pouncey. And as for the 49ers, they have some injuries to deal with on their end as well. They'll be without safety Eric Reed and linebacker Aaron Lynch. Now, I talked to both kickers before the game. This is something to note. They said the condition of the field, it feels a little bit slippery or slick. They were both noting the condition of the field. Now, remember, the Miami Hurricanes played a game here yesterday. So 2 games within 24 hours. Something to keep an eye on, guys.
All righty, Holly, great stuff. Thank you very much. And Colin Kaepernick did not begin the season. You may remember he lost his job as a 49er starting quarterback midway through last year, was hurt during the preseason this year, and he'll make his 6th start of the year today. But the Dolphins will get the football first. And what a run they have been on, especially late in games. They've won 4 games when trailing in the 4th quarter.
I know a lot of people talk about that not being sustainable, Chris, but to me, a team that's building, that learns how to win in the 4th quarter, that just rises confidence among everyone.
And especially in confidence in the quarterback, Tannehill.
All right, here we go. Dawson spins it away. And this will be Grant from the 2-yard line. Dances his way across the 20, and penalty flags come on the field naturally on the opening kickoff of the game.
During the return, holding number 46 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So here comes Ryan Tannehill. Boy, what an incredible performance he delivered on their final 2 drives last week. 8 plays, 77 yards in 2.5 minutes. 7 plays, 75 yards in a minute and a half to win the game and shock the LA Rams.
Yeah, and that was surprising to me because they didn't convert a 3rd down until the 4th quarter.
Right.
0-for-11 going into the 4th. They turned it on.
Ajayi in the backfield, he has been electrifying during this 5-game winning streak. But 3 new offensive linemen today, as Holly told you, and they come out throwing. They dump it off to the tight end, Marquise Gray, and he'll pick up 5, maybe 6 on first down. And let's take a look at the rest of the starters for the Miami Dolphins.
Talk about Jay Ajayi right there and what he's done. Jarvis Landry, he is a running back once he gets the ball in space. Outstanding athlete, can make people miss.
Adam Gase, just 38 years old, grew up in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Easy. Hey, Atlanta, brace. Here we go. Omaha.
First carry for Ajayi, cuts it back to the inside, and he is wrapped up and thrown to the deck by Eli Harold, who's filling in for the injured Aaron Lynch. What about the 49ers? It has been a rough go on defense.
They have the worst run defense in the NFL, but when Glenn Dorsey plays nose tackle, they have a much better run defense. Hard to move inside. He keeps some people off of the linebackers, allows them to flow to the ball and make better tackles.
Exactly what he did that last play by getting penetration, forced Ajayi to go east and west as opposed to north and south. Allowed Harold to make the play.
Dorsey just trying to come back all the way from that ACL tear from a year ago. He's missed 3 games this year, although played well the last 2 weeks. On 3rd down, good protection, but it's incomplete. Not sure the receiver got to the marker anyway. So 3 and out to begin the game for the Dolphins on offense.
Pressure comes from outside, and you see that's working on Sam Young. And remember, Sam Young's in for the injured Brandon Albert. When you see pressure early, the Dolphins will see that. They'll have to start trying to help with either bringing Deion Sims back there that can help pass protect, or start chipping with their 3rd down back, whether it's Williams or Jay Ajayi, to help him out in one-on-one situations.
Matt Darr punts it away. Jeremy Curley comes up to get it, and a fair catch at the 38-yard line. So now the 29-year-old native of Turlock, California, Colin Kaepernick, he had the electrifying start to his career. Nearly took the 49ers to back-to-back Super Bowls, took them to a pair of NFC championship games. And you hear the crowd immediately letting their feelings known on Colin Kaepernick. It was a huge story this week about Kaepernick wearing a Fidel Castro t-shirt and an exchange he had with a local writer. And it's been all over the newspapers. And of course, after Castro's death yesterday, that has been the story, and I mean around-the-clock story, as it naturally would be here in South Florida. So you'll hear a lot of this all day today. Kaepernick will keep it himself, and we know he can run it, and slides his way a 14-yard gain on first down.
And right out of the gate, they go to the quarter to the zone read. Watch Kaepernick read. Right there, there's the mesh point, and right there, the defensive end crashes down. And once he sees that, he pulls it. And what a nice block by Trent Brown, number 77. Positioned himself to kick the defender to the outside and give Kaepernick a lane upfield.
That's Curley in motion. And the catch made by Carlos Hyde out of the backfield. And stopped for maybe a half-yard pickup. Good coverage here by Bobby McCain. We take a look at the 49ers on offense. A lot of people believe their offensive line is better than the offensive line from a year ago.
Well, they're not bad. They're outstanding run blockers, but one reason why they're so successful running, not the tough offensive line, is that man, number 28, Carlos Hyde. He will fight for every inch on that football field. Never quits.
At the high school on the other side of the state in Naples, Florida, did Hyde. Kaepernick slings it in there. And the reception is made by a wide receiver. How about that? Quentin Patton, his 31st catch of the year.
Just what we talked about in the open TV, you have to get these guys involved in this offense for this offense to operate at a high level. And another encouraging thing, if you're a 49er fan, that ball was thrown over 10 yards. They don't like to throw vertical. There they attacked vertical.
From the 34, a first down. Hyde breaks a tackle, stays on his feet, and that's the kind of running we saw from Carlos Hyde back at your old alma mater, Mr. Spielman, as a Buckeye.
Well, and again, he runs angry. He's running like he's in a bad mood. And first of all, you're going to get a good double on Sue. See Sue get knocked out of there, which is a rarity. He gets knocked out of his gap. They lose gap integrity, and he has such a great burst through that hole. He can make things happen.
When Hyde is healthy, he is an outstanding running back. The problem is keeping him on the field. They dump it off to the tight end. Talented tight end out of Rice is McDonald. This is a real nice start against what has been an improving Miami defense.
And I highlighted Kiko Alonso, the linebacker, number 47, finally healthy after 2 years of knee issues, both in Buffalo and in Philadelphia. And now he can just run to the football because usually that defensive front keeps him clean and allows him to get the ball carriers.
Second down and 4 in the read option, and again it is Kaepernick, and again he has a first down. Well, he took a big divot there. That was very awkward. He's still looking down at the ground. Holly reported a moment ago about the field conditions after a college game here last night.
It looked like one of Ollie Saunders' wedge shots. Watch, if you're Kiko Alonso right here, you don't break down on people. I can't stand defenders breaking down on guys. All that school of breaking down on players, that goes out the window. Keep your eyes up. You put him inside out and you run through his rear end. If you break down, he's too good of an athlete and he will make you miss in space.
So you're saying you don't break down to your front
never,
up, right?
Never break down.
They break down when you've wrapped yourself around it.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to need this timeout the 49ers are taking because Charles is having to restrain Chris Spielman.
You really think I can actually do that?
Sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
49ers on the move. Their opening possession of the game after the defense forced a 3-and-out. Kaepernick, play fake, throws to the end zone, and it's broken up. The intended receiver was a tight end. And then Michael Thomas there to jar it away.
Everything was good for for San Francisco, except for the finish. Watch back here because you're going to see number 31, Bakari
There is
Rambo.
no foul on the play. Second down.
Watch Bakari Rambo, 31. Michael Thomas, 31. Right through him. In a sense, you know what he became on this play, Chris? The eraser. Because that should have been a touchdown. That ball was perfectly thrown right into the gap there for McDonald, and Thomas comes over and knocks it away.
The thing I loved, he kept his head out of the play, not getting an unnecessary penalty, using his hands to knock it away.
Second down and 10. They fake it to Hyde, throw it to Hyde, and Hyde will find the end zone. And the 49ers, losers of 9 in a row, put together a sensational drive to jump in front.
So this is 101 red zone football. When you have man coverage, watch Kiko Alonso is going to get picked off as he's man-to-man right there with Carlos Hyde. Watch the pickoff. Right there, there's an offensive player coming in, forcing Kiko Alonso to take a poor angle, tried to go underneath. Now, the coaching point there, Tom, you go over the top, then you cut him off with the pass. If you go underneath against a guy like Hyde, he'll beat you to the corner and you got no shot.
How about that opening sequence for San Francisco, guys? How many different actions did we see? Motions, zone reads, where quarterback kept it. They showed a lot of offense in the first series.
Bill Dawson right down the middle. What an impressive start for the 49ers. 62 yards and a touchdown for Carlos Hyde. 7-0 Niners.
Sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
Well, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten championships are only on Fox. Out west, Washington looks to get into the college football playoff. They'll take on Colorado. That's at 8 Eastern on Friday. And then the showdown in Indianapolis, the Wisconsin Badgers and the Penn State Nittany Lions in the Big Ten title game. Friday and Saturday nights on Fox.
See that opening drive there, the Dolphins' first opening drive touchdown allowed since week 2. Carlos Hyde with the touchdown catch, but it's San Francisco's first opening drive touchdown in the last 3 weeks, so something gave on that opening drive. But those Pac-12 and Big Ten title games have a lot of intrigue to them.
Oh boy, do they. This is Drake from the goal line, and he is out to the 21-yard line. You know, it's interesting to know that Miami has been very much a second-half team so far this year. I mean, they have just been dominated in the first half of games. In fact, the second worst point differential of all teams in the NFL in the first half. Conversely, the 49ers, for a team which has lost 9 in a row, that is the 8th time this year they have scored first in a game. And they've lost all but one of them.
I think they come out blazing to start. A lot of offense, as we talked about, going to break. A lot of motions, a lot of action. They throw a lot at you early. You've got to weather the early storm if you're Miami and try and settle in with what San Francisco's presenting.
They get to Ajayi, and now under some pressure from Harold, Tannehill will roll, and he'll just run out of bounds. There's a penalty flag.
Came from the secondary, guys, and sometimes that's holding in the secondary, and that was way away from the ball, too.
Well, and what happened there's a little bit of a warning sign for me if I'm a Dolphins fan, because if you have max protection, which essentially means a 2-man route, everybody else staying in, and you're forcing him out of the pocket, that's a danger Will Robinson situation right there.
Holding. Defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Watch this right along this line. Max protect, and we have a 2-man route. Now watch how he is forced out of the pocket by Eli Harold, number 58, again working on Sam Young, the replacement for Brandon Albert. So clearly they have a matchup that they like, and they'll try to expose that all day.
And what's interesting is that this is a team built to run the football now when they have all of their regular offensive linemen in. Maybe Adam Gase believes they have to throw it more today with the replacements on the left side of the line.
Good protection this time, and they put it up top. Trying to find out if Devontae Parker, who had the game-winning touchdown last week, could go up and get it.
And watch Parker, number 11. This route is a strength of his. Fade, go up and get the football. But Rashard Robinson, number 33, is athletically gifted as well. Understands that's what Parker likes to do, and what he likes to do best. Stays right in his hip pocket and makes a play on the football and knocks it away.
These two guys played against one another in practice every day at LSU. Or I beg your pardon, that's Landry was at LSU. That was Devontae Parker spinning out of a tackle. hard, strong running by Ajayi. And for the first time, let's check in with our very good friend Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. We're headed to New Orleans in a moment that Rams fans have been waiting for a while. Jared Goff's first touchdown in the NFL is a 24-yard touchdown to Tavon Austin. LA's up early. And by the way, congrats on your Buckeyes yesterday.
Well, there were some tense moments there yesterday, Mr. Spielman.
It was
very tense moments. Here's Ajayi, and he springs through the left side. He's up to the 45-yard line and a first down.
Well, and Charles, you talk about, and Tom, about the 49ers. Well, the problem is always not the offense. It's this guy right here, the front seven. And we have two guys in one gap, 98 and 50. Right there, we're the same guy in the same. And you have missed tackles by DeForest Buckner. We talked about it. Coach O'Neill talked about it, the defensive coordinator. Gap integrity. That means two guys can never, ever be in a B gap between the guard and tackle.
180.
First down, they'll give it to Ajayi. Stumbled after getting the handoff, and he's dropped for a big loss. Covering was Nick Bellore. He was the first man there. Of course, Bellore is a guy ultimately filling in. We talk about injuries before this game, but his 49er defense has really been beat up. Armstead is out. The great Navarro Bowman. Robinson has missed a lot of time. Aaron Lynch again this week. Hodges has missed time. Dorsey has missed time. It's a banged-up bunch.
Trying to become cohesive when guys aren't in, not in week to week. It's very difficult to do, but they did a nice job on the defensive front on that play because they strung it out and allowed the linebackers to get there.
Tannehill buying time, slings it in and out of the hands of Jarvis Landry, so third down and 15 upcoming.
This is a much maligned San Francisco defense. We well know it, all right? Any stat we say is probably going to be in the bottom half of the league, if not the worst. But early in this game, they've got Miami off balance in terms of timing. I mean, to me, what their defensive front is doing, they may get in the gaps wrong occasionally, but right now, Tannehill, not able to get comfortable in the pocket and just deliver.
And from my observation, he's bailing too early. He's going out of the pocket too early where he can step and adjust and move within the pocket.
Set up the wide receiver screen, but well short of a first down as they get it in the hands of Damian Williams as he was split far to the top of your screen, and the Dolphins again will punt it. Chris, it's interesting to note, there have been a lot of questions about Tannehill and would he be the long-term guy, and during this winning streak, a lot of people are starting to think, yeah, he's the guy. But this guy's been sacked more than anybody in the NFL since he stepped into the league.
And he's played for 4 different coordinators, so I believe that has also stunted his growth. But I think if he gets consistency with Adam Gase, who we just saw on our screen, then he's going to grow and improve as a player.
49ers don't have anybody back. They were thinking maybe something was up with Miami, and now they'll send Curley back. And he'll put a foot on it, trying to pin him inside the 15. He'll pin him at the 18. Very good start for the 49ers, leading the heavily favored Dolphins 7-0.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell's new Steakhouse Burrito and Steakhouse Nachos. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K.
Well, it's very nice for Charles Davis to have us out to his estate over the weekend.
Yes.
Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Very kind of you, Mr. Davis.
That will never happen again. Neighbors very, very upset.
They should be. Kaepernick takes it one way, rolling right. And that one was blown up right from the start. Very well read by the long-time Pro Bowler, former #1 overall pick Mario Williams, healthy again this week.
So, and that's the 4th time that they've run a pass on 1st and 10, Charles. Why are they doing that? Just keep them off balance?
They want to keep them off balance. They want to actually open things up for their run a little bit later. A lot of times you throw it to run it. But you know what else you do? You take advantage of everyone's emotion early. Get them moving one direction, go in another direction, because everyone's flying early in the game. And now Miami, let's see if they've settled down, and now we'll read their keys.
Kaepernick on the opening drive, a touchdown drive, 4 out of 5. Also ran it twice for 20 yards. Carlos Hyde for a gain of 4, so a third down coming up.
So let's talk about looking ahead to this next play on third down. The number one responsibility for the Miami front four is discipline in your pass rush. Do not let Kaepernick turn a throwing lane into a running lane, averaging 10 yards a scramble when he decides to tuck and go.
But you still have to go at him. You can't just stand up at the line of scrimmage and peek around and look for it. You still have to go at it while maintaining that gap integrity.
Pocket collapses. There's that running lane, and that is a first down for Kaepernick. It's never been debated about Colin Kaepernick. You give him space to run it, and he will hurt you.
Well, again, it's just Kaepernick taking advantage of what he does best. And when you have two, stop it right there. Two guys inside creating that running lane. That's undisciplined. Sue has got to stay within his responsibility by coming inside. He runs into Jordan Phillips, creating the open hole.
Broken up. Played beautifully by Bobby McCain, the second-year corner out of Memphis.
This is a really nice play because this ball is sharply thrown and it's right on the target. Right now, look at that. He fit it right in there, but McCain did just enough to affect the timing at the end of the play, and Curley not able to grasp it to completion.
Got to catch it. Got to make it.
Shane Drone checks into the backfield. And that's Torrey Smith, who did not play a week ago, and a penalty flag is down. He's run out of bounds at the 38.
Let me show you a little something about Chip Kelly's offense and what they do.
Already walking backwards are the
Holding. Offense.
49ers.
Number 13. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
So let's talk about what makes his offense unique. This guy 68 is going to pull right here. Why? To get these guys to flow this way, because that's one of their keys. Then you throw the quick screen out here in space where you're working 3-on-2. Freeze it. There's 3-on-2 right there. Blocker for a blocker. And by pulling that guard, that slows down the inside pursuit of the linebackers. That's a Chip Kelly play and a Chip Kelly offensive philosophy.
But the only thing that went wrong there for him, Aaron Burbridge grabbed him instead of blocked it out on the corner.
second down and 20. And this is Carlos Hyde up to the 30, a gain of 4. It'll bring a third down for the 49ers, who lead 7-0.
This is where things get interesting for Miami, because most teams, Chris, in third and long, now you're talking about what kind of games they're going to play up front. How much extra pressure are they going to bring? The Dolphins like to just bring 4 and drop 7. They think they can get home with their pass rushers. Cameron Wake, number 91 in particular. And look, they're going with that muddle stuff around there, that ninja stuff where no one is down, everyone's up, trying to confuse those blocking assignments.
See, Miami's defense, number 1 in the NFL on third down.
Ball start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
It's a rare mistake by the 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle of these Niners, Joe Staley.
And guys, it's all pass rushers out there now. Take a look at what Miami's got. All right, Wake Sue is out there, 93, but they brought in Wake, 91 is out there. Mario Williams, 94 is on the field. Andre Phillips, number 50. Look at Sue back in the middle like a middle linebacker trying to attack.
Well, they're going to hand it off. Hyde is stuffed at the 31. The 49ers will punt with 3.5 and counting to go in the opening quarter. Chip Kelly, the 3 years in Philadelphia, of course, each of his first 2 seasons, he won 10 games, won an NFC East title in 2013, but then things began to spiral out of control, was let go before the season ended last year. 49ers give him a job, and many are wondering, will he be in this job next year? Bobbled by Grant, and then he is thrown down by Burbridge. Great coverage by the 49ers after a big-time punt. Adam Gase not thrilled at all with the start offensively for his team. A 3 and out on the opening possession. Picked up 1 first down on the second possession. So here we go, the third inside their own 10 from the 8.
180.
Ajayi off to the left side, a gain of close to 4.
You know, Adam Gase is the head coach, but he calls plays on offense. So right now, you see what he's doing? He's calling it directly into the headset of Ryan Tannehill, his quarterback. And not only does he call the play in, he also gives him little reminders, little tips on each play that he's called about what he should look for, what might come at him. And at times, when his feet slow down in the pocket, he'll remind him to speed things up, speed up his process.
Run. 180. Run.
Ajayi back-to-back handoffs and no running room here. Played very well there by Gerald Hodges. He was the first man there to beat him and drag him down.
I'll tell you, I love playing linebacker when those guys do their job and hold gap integrity as Dorsey does, because look below, nobody touches them. Man, is that fun. And that's what you do after the game. You thank those guys and you say, can I take you to dinner? What would you like? I'll bring you McDonald's.
Well, you're a big spender now,
the boys used to go 6 Big Macs on me there. That added up.
You took him to McDonald's. You didn't take him to the steakhouse?
No.
Man, you're hard. You drive a hard bargain, brother. They got to keep you real clean for the steakhouse, don't they?
Yep.
Third down has not been kind to this Miami offense all season long. They have been woeful. Looking for the big ball here down the middle of the field, and they deliver third down here to Devontae Parker. This young man stays healthy, Charles. He's got a chance now.
And remember what we said early, Tom. What does he like to do? Get downfield, get up on top, and put the ball up there and let him go get it. That is a particular strength of his. That's why he was such a big red zone target. But now that he's healthy, the hamstrings feel good. He's letting his speed out as well. He got inside of Tremaine Brock and finished off a big play.
And if Tremaine Brock has a safety that's not helping deep, which he wasn't because he's helping on the tight end, you have to play off and inside, protect the post, make them throw the sideline route.
Being a 45 on the throw, and now down the field. They're looking again down the sideline, and incomplete. Kenny Stills averages nearly 18 yards per catch, and they were trying to make it a whole lot more than that.
You know, what a lot of teams like to do, guys, is when you complete a big pass, you find that same corner and come at him again the next play, the theory being that maybe he's a little bit winded. In this case, they went to the same spot, but it was a different corner. Jimmy Ward came over, and he's been their best cover guy all year long, and he did a nice job. So Brock got a break on that play. Jimmy Ward made the play.
180. Run.
Ajayi tripped up, and that was a safety coming out to help there. Tart, he's filling in for the injured Eric Reed, who they lost for the year with a torn bicep last week in the loss to New England.
Well, when you have a safety making a tackle past the line of scrimmage, you see Tart will come into your screen where, again, he's on block because Deion Sims was on a combo block. That means a double team looking to get to the second level. He did not see Tart, who's a smaller guy, snuck through that gap. And guess what? Even safeties
That's
get
the end
TFL.
of the quarter, and that's a good start for the 49ers. Opening quarter numbers, 62 of the 49ers, 89 yards came on that opening possession, where they went right down the field. A touchdown pass from Kaepernick to Carlos Hyde.
Third and long, guys. Jim O'Neill, the defense coordinator of San Francisco, his reputation is to be multiple and attacking. He's backed off a lot of that this year. Let's see if he decides to. Look at what he's got here on the defensive front, though. Look at everyone up here on the line. They're trying to make sure they get the attention of everyone who has to block and trying to change up their blocking as well.
Well protected is Tannehill. And that is a first down reception by Jarvis Landry. Took a big shot from Antoine Bethea, but hung on.
Look at what they tried to do, okay? They're trying to confuse things. Look at how well Miami handles what comes at them. Ultimately, it turned into what, a 4 or 5 man pressure? They blocked that up well, allowed time for Tannehill to step in, and Chris, he wasn't bailing on that one. He stayed in the pocket and fired downfield.
So if I can get a safety on Jarvis Landry, my eyes, my pre-snap read takes me to Jarvis Landry right now, exactly what happened with Tannehill.
On a third down, he better be the man you find because he has more third down receptions than any player in the NFL. 3rd and 11, and you find Jarvis Landry. Slow start today for Ajayi, who had those 3 straight 100-yard rushing games back-to-back. 200-yard rushing games, one of only 4 players in the history of the NFL, and the other names I think you've heard of them: Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson, and Ricky Williams.
It's pretty good names right
Not bad.
All power guys too, so just think about all those guys, how many yards after contact and they accumulated.
And that's Ajayi's game.
Exactly.
It runs through traffic.
180.
Play fake it to him. Tell you what, that protection's starting to tighten up a little bit. Catch is made for a first down. There's a penalty flag in the secondary. Kenny Stills his first catch.
You're right about the protection, but I'm going back to something my partner said earlier. Got to stay in that pocket, let some plays develop, and Tannehill is.
Holding, defense, number 33. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first
Tom
down.
and Charles, here's why the protection's showing up. See number 80, Deion Sims, not a factor right now because he's more valuable to help the protection by staying in and becoming a pass blocker. That's their adjustment to help Tannehill and give him time to survey the field, deliver.
And he's working both sides of the line, left side and right side, to try and help out.
They have a running back, Damian Williams, at the bottom of your screen, being defended by a linebacker. And they go the other way up top. And it is a touchdown in the corner of the end zone to Devontae Parker. What a throw, what a catch.
You talked about it, Charles. Tell him.
Scouting report on Devontae Parker. Red zone threat in a big way because of his ability to essentially play basketball in the red zone, meaning he will go up and rebound anything off the glass. In this case, you just throw it up there, put over the head of Rashard Robinson, whose head did not get around in time, and Parker comes down with it. His development continues to get better and better with better health and better maturity as the season goes on.
So Holly and I saw this play in practice on Friday, and Tannehill's job is not to throw it to Parker. He throws it to the orange pylon, then let Parker go make the catch.
I mean, that is some kind of throw. That angle we just showed you a minute ago, Parker is the only man on the planet who could have got a hand on that ball.
That's that fade route, Tom. It's hard to stop down there.
Terrible call.
And truthfully, that's what you want. Either he catches it or no one catches it.
We're going to find out if this one stands because they're taking a long look. Did he get that left foot in? I don't think he did. Well, Mike Pereira, this is a tough one here. What do you think?
Well, it's really close. Throw out the pylon. The pylon doesn't mean anything. That doesn't put him out of bounds. The question is, what hits first? Is it the hand hit first, or does the knee get down first? Extremely close. I think you can make a case that you get the hand down first before the knee. We'll see.
Mike, sit tight. We're waiting on the verdict here.
The receiver had control of the ball with 1 foot down. His left forearm came down out of bounds before the left knee. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be second down, goal to goal on the 10-yard line. There's no adjustment to the clock.
All right, so no touchdown. Mike, very quickly, based on some of the numbers this year, you know, we've always heard the important part, the field, you know, the call on the field, and they don't like to overturn it unless the evidence is conclusive. Any data on that this year?
Yeah, I mean, actually the reversal rate is about the same. I'll tell you, Tom, what's interesting is the decline in the number of stoppages. There's like 50 less reviews during the course of the season so far, which I think is great. But the reversal percentage is right about the same.
Okay. Mike, thank you as always. So, second down. Quick throw, and short of the end zone is Landry, but he is down to the 2-yard line.
And that's a good tackle because we talked with Antoine Bethea, who's a Pro Bowl safety for the 49ers, Chris. And what did he say about tackling this guy, that guy right there, Jarvis Landry? It's like tackling a running back.
Exactly. And he's very tough and good in space. Now, they brought Damian Williams in. Damian Williams comes into the game because he's going to be a factor on this play, one way or another. The thing is, he's not at the fullback position right here. He's not a lead blocker. He's not a lead blocker. Some type of toss sweep maybe.
Or slip him out into the back and slip him out on a pass.
Pitch it to Ajayi, trying to turn the corner, and he's into the end zone. A touchdown for Jay Ajayi, his 7th rushing score of the year.
I think you knew what they were talking about there.
Well, I thought, because here's the reason why. Williams is not a lead blocker. He is either going to get the ball or he's going to be somebody that confuses. By him attacking brings people inside, letting Ajayi run free to the corner. See Williams come in, see those guys jump inside. As soon as they jump inside, baby, get it to 23 and let him do his thing. Get to the speed, get to the flag, get to the corner. And, you know, I mean, again, that's things you got to try to calculate and figure out. Why is he lined up at that position? Well, he's not going to the point of attack. That's what I know.
So now the point after. Out of the hold of Dar, the snap of John Denny, it's Andrew Franks. And after all those missed extra points last week around the National Football League, kicker's perfect today. Hyde a touchdown. Ajayi answers. We're knotted at 7.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Target. Expect more, pay less. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Amazon Echo, information, music, news, and more. Just ask.
Finally, Miami on the board. 11 plays, 91 yards, capped off by the touchdown run from Ajayi. They had the 2 big plays to Devontae Parker, that 45-yard gain, and then the slant to get him inside to the 2-yard line. Bouncing ball fielded by Ja'Cory Shepherd, and he's up to the 25-yard line. The most outspoken duo in sports talk is on FS1.
Tomorrow, we debate all of today's NFL action.
I'm feeling pretty good about my Seahawks Super Bowl pick.
You shouldn't feel good about any of your picks. Undisputed, America's fastest growing sports show, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
12:15 to play until halftime. Alongside Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, Holly Saunders along the sideline. We've also heard from Mike Pereira, Tom Brenneman from Miami on a beautiful Sunday. The Niners have lost 9 in a row. They won their first game of the season. That's got to feel like years ago.
Opening night on a Monday night, and Miami has their 2nd unit defensive line in, giving them a break.
Kaepernick dumps it off to Carlos Hyde. And he spins away from some trouble, and he's up to the 28-yard line.
He spun away from some and spun right back into Kiko Alonso, didn't he, Chris?
Yeah. That's it. What is that on the Madden game? You're the Madden guy. Is that the circle X button?
Right,
Look at this.
The Madden guy, Charles.
Look at this. Watch Alonso, 47, pursue on the play. And he does a good job, I believe, of getting the right angle. He's not going to allow the real cutback, right? So there he is. But then once he gets inside, instead of continuing that way, Hyde spins back outside, and Alonso's there.
Well, they played that read option beautifully this time, and Hyde is smothered behind the line of scrimmage.
Chris, you played a lot of years as a linebacker. When you start to get the emotion out of the first quarter and guys aren't flying too fast and maybe reading their keys, it's a big help, isn't it?
Well, and again, guys doing their job and understanding when you play a read option team, it's all about your responsibility. If you have the fullback, take the fullback, disregard the quarterback. Do your job first, exactly what the Dolphins did on that last play.
So now Miami's starting to have its way on defense. So 3rd and 9. Look out, here comes Kaepernick, and he burns him again with his feet. That is a first down along the sideline, and he crosses midfield all the way to the 44-yard line. Wow.
Yeah, and Vance Joseph, they're going to run a little stunt here, little X-game stunts. And you do that, again, you come to create lanes. And again, when you have 2 guys getting pushed out by 3, he doesn't even look to step up into the pocket to throw. That's not even in the thought process. The thought process is run. And so, what do you have to counter? Look, we're not getting there with 4. Vance Joseph had to say, okay, now we need to implement a spy on 3rd downs. That's what you have to do.
That is 62 rushing yards in this game already by Kaepernick. And look, when you have a quarterback like Kaepernick who can run, and I think we all agree, as far as a running quarterback, he's still the best in the NFL when he's on the field. Nobody runs it better than Kaepernick does. So this 49er offense, despite all their problems, they're the 5th best rushing team in the NFL.
And remember, 36% of their rushing yardage this year has come from the quarterback position because Blaine Gabbert ran it when he was in there as well.
Harris spelling Hyde, and he has a first down carry to the 31-yard line.
So let's see if we do get to a 3rd down coming up. If Vance Joseph makes that adjustment as a defense coordinator, Chris, to add that spy in there. It's not something he wants to have a steady diet of. But so far in this game, where they've been stung, has been what he's called the unbroken plays. Right? The ones, not the ones you can account for, not the ones you practice and defend, but everything's covered and Kaepernick hot foots it out of there. That could demoralize a defense.
Exactly 100 rushing yards in this game already for the 49ers. And across the middle, that is Selleck. And he's to the 15-yard line. Did he fumble the football? The Dolphins say he fumbled it, and the Dolphins say they've recovered it, and they have. What a huge turnover there by Garrett Selleck, the tight end, after a first down reception.
You know, there's a reason why teams are 1-9. You have an opportunity, you got to take advantage, not give it away.
Well, when you've lost 9 games in a row, you're going to be at the very top in a lot of categories you'd rather not be in, and that's the 11th lost fumble, most in the NFL for the Niners.
Remember the last drive was 91 yards for Miami. They feel good about what they're doing on offense now.
The only other team with 11 is San Diego, another team that will not be playing in the playoffs more than likely. Ajayi spun down for a 1-yard loss.
Well, let's look at how they're getting their offense and passing game involved. They're going to attack 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. And here's what I love. For Kaepernick, this is great patience on his part. See the guys clearing underneath, getting Kiko Alonso, 47, to jump, vacating the middle of the field, and he is patient enough to allow that happen, Charles. But when you get that, you have to do what?
You got to make a play on the football. And Byron Maxwell started it, Bakari Rambo finished it, and Kiko Alonso, he recovered it.
Second down and 11. They'll put it back in the hands of Ajayi. And powerful running, just short of a first down. I'll tell you what, this guy is power-packed. He goes at 230 yards out of Boise State. He grew up in Plano, Texas.
And watch Jermon Bushrod, number 74, a Pro Bowl left tackle, adjusting now to right guard. See how he handled Glenn Dorsey, the nose tackle? That allowed Ajayi to get to the perimeter and turn on that power you just talked about, Tom.
So, and watching the tape, guys, I think, who's Ajayi remind me of? Terrell Davis. I mean, he's like Terrell Davis reincarnated. Just that body, that fire, and he runs with such passion. And I appreciate that as a former player because he respects the game the way he runs that football.
And he learned to respect it when he got left home week 1 because of what was happening here in Miami.
3rd down in the yard. That was a bobbled snap, and somehow, some way, Damian Williams is able to get through the scrum and actually turned it into a pretty good game. And it's a first down.
Adam Gase channeled his inner Jim Harbaugh. This is just a fullback dive. Now again, we told you when Williams is lined up at fullback, he's not there to block. When he's lined up with Ajayi in there, he's lined up to be a part of the play or to be a distraction to the defense.
And you saw that was nearly a disaster for the Dolphins. I don't know if it was a bad exchange or whether Tannehill just had it slip as he was turning to hand it off, but that was nearly a fumble. First down throw, short drop. And the catch is made by Ajayi, and it's another first down. And for the first time, we say hello to our buddy back in L.A., Kurt Menefee. Hi, Kurt.
Hi, Tom. We showed you Jared Goff's first touchdown pass earlier. This is his second to Kenny Britt down there in New Orleans. 2 TD passes for Goff, but he just fumbled it away, and the Saints recovered. It's a 14-14 tie. Tom, Chris, Charles, and Holly.
Chris, what I've been impressed about watching those 2 highlights, 1 touchdown was Tavon Austin, so they got him involved early and they need to. And Kenny Britt's really becoming their go-to guy out wide.
Big tall guy, big target.
every game for the Rams. And here's a little quarterback option, and the all-time leading rushing quarterback in Dolphins history, Tannehill, carries for a 15-yard gain and a first down.
Well, it's all about being a copycat league, zone read. And don't forget, Tannehill was an outstanding wide receiver at Texas A&M, so we know he has the athletic ability. A lot of green right there. Now, the only thing I would tell him to do, because you're so important to this team, slide. Get in there safe. Go into second, whatever you have to do, because you don't want your number one guy taking shots like that, especially to the head and shoulder area.
He did a bunch of that at Texas A&M, where he played for Mike Sherman, who was one of his first offensive coordinator here. And as Chris alluded to, his first 2 years, he was a wide receiver. And he would actually do everything as a quarterback all week, Chris, in practice. You remember this. Everything was quarterback. And then on game day, he played wide receiver. His meetings were as a quarterback, his throws during practice as the backup, the whole deal. And then he went out and played really well as a wide receiver. So that helps him understand what his receivers are seeing downfield when they run routes as well. He's got the whole package in terms of that.
Nick Pelor, the linebacker of the 49ers, shaken up on the play. So Michael Wilhoit will come on for him. On a first down. We're going to try it again with Tannehill. Not as successful this time, and again he took a big hit. There were a couple of big hits on that play. I don't know if that's something you want to make a part of your regular offense.
Now watch, Kenyon Drake is the mesh point, right? Watch Drake 32. Doesn't give it to him, but look at that. If the give happens there, it looks like Drake's got some space to run.
Well, that's the whole thing. If you're going to run that play, that takes hour upon hour, rep upon rep to execute it perfectly at the highest level. And I guarantee you at their practice, they're not running a lot of zone reads.
No question. Seventh play of this drive. Short drop again. And a catch made by Landry. And it looks like he has enough for a first down. Needed to get to the 30.
Ryan Tannehill creates a tremendous amount of torque by driving off his back foot. Now watch him drive this football. And that right hip, see that right hip come forward? That's almost like finishing like some type of golf swing. He really drives that back foot and through that hip and gets that torque that you need to drive the out cut or the outside pass, because you need that strong arm for that.
First down and carry. And that is a 9-yard gain for Drake out of the backfield.
So, you know, I'm going to try to speak a little truth right here. Study a lot of film, right? You do too, Charles. We watch it, we look. And one of the things that this San Francisco defense has been suffering from this year is poor tackling. Now, that's just not my evaluation. That is that coaching staff's admittance.
Inconsistent.
Thinking one way, they come back the other way. That's a play they used to begin the game. First play of the game, and it's worked twice. Marquise Gray, a catch, and a first down.
Everything's a setup, isn't it, Charles?
Certainly is, and nothing like a little misdirection, right? They want your eyes to go one way. They want your eyes to go here. But watch Gray come back against flow, and this is where Tannehill finds him. The fake to Ajayi, all the blocking is kicked to the left. Gray comes back right against the flow, and Tannehill puts it right on him.
And another one of those guys that changed positions once he got to the NFL. Gray was a quarterback for the Gophers of Minnesota.
Guards piling up on this Miami drive. And Tannehill flushed out of the pocket, flag down, incomplete on the throw to Ajayi. And again, there are flags on the play. Two of them. One behind the line of scrimmage. The other right around the intended receiver.
They wanted the wheel route with Ajayi outside. And I'll tell you, for 270 pounds, and you'll see it in a minute, Tank Carradine is running stride for stride, which forced Tannehill to pull the ball.
And that's why they wanted to move him back to outside linebacker from down defensive tackle. He dropped over 30 pounds in order to try and make the move.
Well, they're walking over to ask Chip Kelly what he wants to do here, so obviously this will be against Miami.
There were 2 fouls during the play, both by the offense. Illegal touching of the pass. Number 23 stepped out of bounds and was the first to touch the pass. That penalty is declined. Holding, offense number 74. That penalty will be accepted. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay second down.
This, everybody runs this play, and as a linebacker, you have to be disciplined, especially when you could get some type of in route to pick you off. Right there's the in route. But look at Tank Harrington take the proper angle, having safety over the top and running stride for stride with Jai, forcing Tannehill to pull it down. See him step out, come in and touch the ball. Officials are on it.
As well spotted by them.
So first down and 20 from the 23-yard line. Into the hands of Devontae Parker. He gets down to the 18. Still work to do here. The second down upcoming. Tannehill started the day 1 of 4 for 5 yards. He's now hit on 9 of his last 11 for 127 yards.
So what he has right now, and all quarterbacks want it, and they feel it, is rhythm. Because when you watch, when that timing is right, as soon as that back foot is planted, he is delivering that football with some velocity.
.23 to play until halftime, and it is a touchdown for Deion Sims, his first of the year. What a throw that is. That's an old Josh Beckett-like fastball there from Tannehill.
There's Sims right there at the line of scrimmage, in line, and look how he gets a free release. No one touches him. No one knocks him off his route, and he's into the secondary, and Jimmy Ward doesn't have the size to go up high and try and get through Deion Sims to try to take his legs out. But Sims is already in the air and falling towards the goal line. But if you're going to let him have a free release like that in the secondary, Chris, that's an easy pitch and catch for Tannehill.
Because Ward's outside, Tart was late coming from the inside. Perfectly thrown ball. When you throw the 100-mile-per-hour fastball in there, he's going to beat both guys to coverage.
You don't catch that as much as it might impale you.
Point after is good, and the Dolphins fell behind, but have roared back with 14 unanswered.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Citizen Echo Drive watches, powered by Light.
49ers have turned it over 19 times this year. The opponents have scored 80 points. The league average is 39 points. That's staggering.
Yeah, it is. You noticed the silence after you said that.
I mean,
that one got us.
It's staggering. Shepard from inside the 5. And he's out to the 17-yard line and stopped right there. Dolphins with 2:11 to play until halftime. Kaepernick has 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Boy, it's a nice time of year to be down here, Doctor. Looking good. How about this flashback, these two franchises, 49ers and Dolphins, Super Bowl 19 out at Stanford. 49ers rolled up on the Dolphins 38-16. The great Joe Montana, 3 touchdown passes, ran for another, the Super Bowl MVP for the second time. And 2 of the major figures in those days for the Miami Dolphins, both still coming out here to watch their beloved team play. The Hall of Fame quarterback Dan Marino, and of course their legendary head coach, Hall of Famer Don Shula.
It's just tremendous to see those guys, and what great players and great coaches. I played against that 49er team. They beat us 50-7. My dad told me, thank God they took Montana out of there. They put 100 up on him.
Coach Spielman always had a way with words, did it?
Let him know.
Nothing like a pat on the back from Dad. Kaepernick dumps it off out of the backfield and drone. Boy, he breaks that tackle, and that's a huge gain. 2:05 as he runs out of bounds at the 25. And now the clock will start back up, and it draws us to the 2-minute warning. 14-7 Miami. Why not follow your favorite team all season long? Just go to iTunes.com/NFL.
At the top of the show, Chris Beelman talked about the wide receivers need to be more active and involved for the 49ers. With or Torrey Smith, they've thrown it to him once. He got called back by a penalty. Got to try and find spots for that guy who can run past any secondary.
Well, the 49ers leading receiver in this game is Carlos Hyde. Well, as if on cue, they find Smith for a first down.
Look, the truth about Torrey Smith is he's really almost a one-trick pony, right? He's going to run past you. If you can run some of those quick screens that they tried to run earlier in the game, throw some short stuff, let him make someone miss, he can take it the distance. Got to find ways to throw the ball in his direction.
Thrown out of the backfield. Clock will continue to run. He lost a yard, or maybe gained a yard. Now they're spotted at the 32, but we're down to 1:24, and the 49ers not spending a timeout. They're not appear to be in a big hurry here.
They're really not built to be one of those super fast throw it around teams. They are a run team. Throw it off a play action, trying to get something big. I think they're trying to get out of this half without making a huge mistake.
I think you're right. After all the time Kaepernick took there, just getting the ball in. Incomplete, brings up 3rd and 9. Well, now all of a sudden, if you're the Dolphins, they are built to throw the football. Stop them here on 3rd.
I mean, even though they're going to run a little switch route right here, what they're trying to do when they attack downfield, they're attacking downfield with tight ends, not receivers. And this offense will never work to its full potential if the receivers are not a factor.
Orange and orange are the receivers. Everybody else either a running back or a tight end. They're coming after Kaepernick. Oh, dangerous throw, nearly picked off by Bakari Rambo. This guy did not have a job less than a month ago.
Watch Rambo. Look and see where his eyes are. He's looking right back into the backfield. He never takes a real retreat step and just drives on the football. Saw it the whole way. So to your point, Chris, if they don't make plays downfield and push people, they're just going to sit on these routes and make plays going forward as a secondary.
Oh, that's an easy read for him because they think that Kaepernick's not even looking downfield. They're looking for the quick out.
They drop back Landry. Very short punt. And Landry will play it off a bounce. And he'll get an extra 4 or 5 yards. Did he ever go down?
I think we're saying his forearm hit down, Tom.
And there is an injured 49er on the field. Shane Scove, backup linebacker. Still time for Miami here before halftime. Scove being helped off the field. What's coming up? Kurt Menefee at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, we'll have highlights of the Ravens and Bengals in Baltimore. The Chargers try to knock Houston out of first place, and the Jags try to pull the upset against the Bills. It's all coming up on the Visa halftime. We promise not to make it up.
Takes a real man to do that on television. How about Carissa Thompson back in Los Angeles?
For his makeup, I had no idea. That's impressive. This is also impressive. Eli Manning connects with Odell Beckham Jr. for this 32-yard touchdown. Odell Beckham had left the game early with a thumb injury. Clearly not bothered right here. Giants up 14-3. Tom?
All right, Carissa. 47 seconds remain until halftime, and you can rest assured that Tannehill and company are looking for a few extra points. They start off the short way to Sims, who had the touchdown a moment ago. He's up to the 37-yard line.
Guy's done a decent job, and in this type of situation, he gets a chance to shine. His backup tackle, Sam Young. He's been pretty outstanding. Had a little trouble early on, but since then, he's been very stout at that position.
Well, in fact, that whole left side, for those of you just joining us, their regular center, their regular left guard, their regular left tackle, Pouncey, Tunsil, Albert, all out in the game. So it's been Steen, Urbic, and Young at center, guard, and tackle for the Dolphins today. Tannehill's hit 7 in a row. And as soon as you say something nice about the offensive line, the quarterback gets sacked.
Well, they hit him with blitz and pressure, and they had a little bit of confusion.
There's Ballore, number 50, who will ultimately get home. But watch what happens. Steen is looking to the opposite side, expects him to be passed off elsewhere, and no one's there.
Well, Deion Sims, who lined up at fullback, tried to step up and take the block, and Ballore hit a quick swim, and Deion missed, which he rarely does.
Well, after that sack, Adam Gase decides, let's stick the play call sheet in my back pocket. Let's wait for the second half. The 49ers will get the ball to begin the second half. 49ers on that opening drive went straight down the field, 62 yards. Kaepernick throwing it well, running it well, scored the touchdown, but ever since then, it's been all Miami.
I want to see what San Francisco has on their script in the second half, because many teams have a script to open the game. A lot of them have one for the second half as well, see if they have something new.
Well, we mentioned at the beginning, around here, they're all of a sudden talking about the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Now you see right now, both wild cards would be in the AFC West, but the Dolphins right on the heels of KC and Denver.
Well, it's just impressive as the horrible start that they had, then come back and run 5 in a row, and they got belief and confidence, and it's okay for them to win ugly. They embrace that.
And when you think about this team, and you're talking about playoffs, and you're talking about making all this work and happen, right? Think about this too. This is a team that's really pretty young. A lot of key guys, youngsters, the whole deal. Today's a game that all they've heard all week is, this is a game you guys should win. This is a game where you should beat San Francisco. Their maturity is being tested in this game. Can they rise to the challenge and not play down and say, oh, well, we're going to be okay? So far in the first half, they seem to have accepted it fairly well.
And rising above injuries, correct? And that's what they've done with that offensive line. And Tannehill's confidence is growing, not only in his teammates, but he and Gase are clicking.
Well, we do have a second half left to go, and it's only a 7-point game. So despite the fact that this game feels like it's very much in the, in the hands of the Dolphins, well, in hand of the Dolphins, it's only a 7-point game at halftime, and we mentioned the 49ers will get the football to begin the second half. Our first look at this stadium since they've redone this place. What an incredible job. Hands here in South Florida. All right, time for the Visa halftime. The entire gang standing by. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Today's excitement is brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. What an impressive start for the 49ers. 62 yards and a touchdown. Pitch it to Ajayi, trying to turn the corner, and he's into the end zone. A touchdown. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Back with Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, and Holly Saunders. Tom Brenneman back in Miami, and after a slow start to this game, both on offense and defense for the Dolphins, they kicked it into gear the second quarter.
Yeah, and when you talk about Miami, remember, this is a San Francisco team. While they're 1-9, they battled some people in recent weeks. It was a field goal they lost by at Arizona, and then they took the New England Patriots into the fourth quarter last week. So it's not going to be easy. But I thought, Chris, as this game went on, Miami started to impose their will more on offense, and they settled down on defense versus the zone read.
Well, when you have an offensive team like the 49ers and your number one threatening play is quarterback scramble, that's a problem, right? And so Jeremy Curley is not involved. I didn't say his name because I thought I'd be saying his name, but that's a leading receiver for the 49ers. He's got one pass attempt to him. That's it. He dropped it.
Well, apparently the offensive staff has forgotten his name.
Yeah.
Last week he's their leading receiver, and he did not have a single catch. And here we are today, and again Curley without a reception. So the 49ers will get the football, and we check in once again downstairs with Holly.
Thank you very much, Tom. Well, Chip Kelly said that he's pretty happy with the offense overall, but defensively, it's their secondary that's got them down. He wants them to go out there in the second half and compete and eliminate the penalties. And as for Adam Gase, he said that they had a couple miscommunications offensively. With all those being out who are injured, he said he's happy with the offense so far, but they need to communicate. The 49ers threw a couple different pressures at them. They need to communicate better, so look for them to be talking more.
Holly, thank you very much. Miami, their first two drives, nothing. Next two drives, a whole lot. 175 yards, 14 points. Kaepernick has run it for nearly as many yards as he's thrown it for. They had 8 plays, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Their first possession of the game. And play action. It's intercepted. That's Kiko Alonso off the intended receiver's hands, and Alonso to the 28-yard line, and on the first play
guys,
of this second half, an interception.
Guys, if we go back to the first half, right, we are talking about this is a secondary that doesn't believe you're going to push them deep. So they sit on things. And watch them there. Tony Lippett, number 36, closes and makes the play on Torrey Smith, pops it in the air for Kiko Alonso. Tony Lippett in college, Michigan State, receiver of the year in the Big Ten his senior year. I saw him at the Senior Bowl, guys, and as I stand here today, I promise you, I looked at him, I said, young man, you're a corner in the NFL. And he said to me, no way, sir. So Tony Lippett, a piece of that paycheck, I'm coming for it. Because he was a corner. He played some of that at Michigan State down the stretch, but he wanted to be a receiver. But the length he has, the ability to drive on the football, and what he did there was showed ball skills. Made a play on the ball, and that popped it up for the interception.
So from the 26-yard line, Tannehill completes his first throw of this half to Kenny Stills, and that is a first down to the 49er 11-yard line.
Well, if you're playing defensive back, the one thing you cannot do is lose your feet. Because when you lose your feet, you're in bad position. Watch Kenny Stills right there working on his man and just beating him inside. And the safeties are so late, but that ball is delivered with a lot of velocity on time, and you see where the receiver never has to work to catch that football, and it's working on Jimmy Ward, number 25.
A rather quiet first half, and it's been a very quiet day. I mean, this is the kind of day as Brooks throws him down for a loss where you're looking at 49ers are giving up nearly 180 rushing yards a game. Miami loves to run it. Ajayi on a roll, and very, very quiet so far.
And that's Ahmad Brooks working inside of number 80, Deion Sims. And here's the rule. If your pads are lower, you're going to win. If your hands are in, you're going to win. Ahmad Brooks was 2 for 2 and was able to get a TFL, tackle for loss.
All about leverage, isn't it?
Always has been, always will be.
And that was a power side run for the Dolphins. They had 2 tight ends to that side, and Brooks foiled it by doing what Chris said, getting the leverage and defeating the block.
Believe it or not, Tannehill is the leading rusher for the Dolphins today. Throws this one to the corner, and broken up nicely down there by Tremaine Brock with an eye again on Stills.
Now, here's the thing what you have to do as a wide receiver. Number one, he runs a great route, and he works back to the ball. But when he comes back to the ball, he does not go attack the ball. His hands are turned the wrong way. His hands and fingertips need to be pointed to the sky and make a catch with your hands, grab it and snatch it, as opposed to letting that ball get to your body, because that little second allows that DB to get in there and rake it out.
Miami 5 of 7 on third down, converting its last 4. Well, this is 3rd and 16. They'll get close, but they're short. Catch made by Parker at the 5. And you wonder, is Adam Gase, nope, he'll send out the field goal unit.
Yeah, again, we talked about the velocity and the hip torque and all that with Tannehill. And how it's verified to me is that every time that ball hits that guy's body, I hear it up here when the guy catches the ball. So that's coming, Charles.
It's not just hitting their body and stopping there. It's that thud, right? It's that second thud, and that's why the ball bounced away from Stills. Hit him so hard in the pads, he wasn't able to get his hands around it before it popped out.
This will be a 24-yard field goal try by Franks, and right down the middle. So they take the interception and cash in for 3 points, extending the lead to 10.
Sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Nissan. Innovation that excites. And by Burger King. Now get 10 nuggets for only $1.49. Only at Burger King.
It's a number we brought up earlier. The 83 points allowed off turnovers, and the NFL average is less than half that number. Hard to believe in it.
It's a sudden change. I mean, that's something that's always preached about in locker rooms, in meetings, in individual meetings, team meetings, group meetings. How are you going to respond off the turnovers? And so far this year, the 49ers, frankly, haven't responded.
Shepard out of the end zone. Second bad decision he's made in as many returns as he's slammed down at the 8-yard line.
Now, just to go back, we talked to Adam Gase on Friday and Ryan Tannehill, and he talked about the hip torque like a great golfer. Watch this right hip. Watch how he drives off that back foot. And see that right hip come through? That's beautiful, and that's how he's able to create such velocity and such accuracy on that, Holly.
He feels it's kind of like the golf swing. Adam Gase compared it to the golf swing. When you're looking at the golf swing, the more torque, the more twisting you can get on the way back. It allows you to get speed coming through the ball and really just smash the ball out there. So for the same reason that a pro golfer can hit it 300 yards down the fairway, an NFL quarterback can just snap it right to his receiver. Guys, it's easy physics. You know you can always come to me for a physics lesson.
Well, that year the pride of Marysville High School in Ohio, an all-district golfer and basketball starting point guard. And I mean, she not only has a look, she was all academic Big Ten as a golfer for Michigan State. So, Holly, indeed, if we need to get the physics, we're coming down to you.
Outstanding.
Called the total package, guys. That's when you got it all.
Let's see if the San Francisco 49ers can get a total package of offense right here and getting the passing game on track and then involved.
Bouncing it to the outside and into the open field is Carlos Hyde, and he runs through the Miami safety Abdul Quddus. And let's check in with Carissa Thompson as we race to Los Angeles.
Thank you, Tom. Jacksonville at Buffalo, game behind the Dolphins. Buffalo down 7-6, first play of the second half. LaShawn McCoy with this 75-yard run, his second of the day. Buffalo's up 13-7. Tom?
Of course, Charles, we were lucky to have Carissa with us for many, many, many years in our coverage of college football.
Big Ten package.
Yep. Well, what a conference that is this year.
Oh, boy.
Big Ten.
It's going to have a big say on the playoff four after this weekend coming up.
The Carlos Hyde's alma mater, that was truly, and I know we talk about, we love watching together the college game, and that game yesterday, and Charles, you've covered a lot of college football. That was one truly for the ages at Ohio State, Michigan, double overtime game.
That was the game you had to wear your big boy pants. That was that type of a ball game, both sides. And I thought both sides played really well. And truthfully, I think both of them are good enough to be in the playoff four. They both won't get there, I don't believe. But I don't know that there's four teams, there are teams better than Michigan that they shouldn't be in the top four as well.
You all the way on that. Second down and 11. Crossing pattern. What do you know? Curley does play for the 49ers, although he's short of the first down.
You remember the three-level route we talked about where Selleck fumbled the ball into the red zone? It's the same route, but this time Kaepernick is looking for a playmaker to get the ball into space of Curley. And he works across the field, avoiding the pick, and Kaepernick delivers a strike. So he had some sense to get something upfield, but good coverage and eliminate rack after yards by the Miami defense.
And they convert on a third down. That is reception made by Rod Streeter. And that's a big gain for the 49ers inside the Miami 30-yard line.
An assist to the offensive line. So how do you eliminate Kaepernick from scrambling? Not a spy, but you bring pressure. And watch Kiko Alonso is going to come, number 47 right there. See him sneaking? See, he's coming. So he eliminates one of the rush lanes right there. Allows Kaepernick just enough time to find Streeter on a little crossing route, winning his battle in one-on-one coverage. That's the way to mix it up with the passing game.
All right, 49ers on the move. Play action. They faked it. And then dump it off to Drone, and he's inside the 12, down to the 11, close to the 10-yard line.
Again, it starts with protection up front, and look, Colin's going to look and survey the field. The thing I like is he's not forcing the football. He has the check down. That's a 5-yard gain right there. No problem. Then Drone wants to show, I can run it hard. I can run it tough. The only thing I get a little nervous about right here is when he lifts that ball, carries it up over his shoulder. Ball security, #1 rule.
Carlos Hyde back into the game. He takes a handoff, burst it to the outside. A nice closing speed, bottled up by Hewitt. Looked like a pretty big hole right there for Carlos Hyde.
I want to give you a little key right here. C77 leaning forward, and this body is almost at parallel to the ground. That upper body is parallel to the ground. That's a 100% run if you're doing a scouting report. You know, when you watch on passing downs, he's going to be sitting back and his shoulders are not going to be over his toes. His shoulders are going to be over his knees. That's just something that defensive coaches and players look at to try to get an advantage.
He's trying to cheat that 355 pounds of his one way or the other to make sure he gets in motion quicker.
Ain't lying about that. They give it to Hyde again. Still on his feet, churning those legs inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line for Carlos Hyde. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line.
See again, right there. He's looking inside. When it's a pass, he's looking outside. When it's a run, he's inside. But look at his forward lean. Then I love the fact that he gets off the ball and is able to seal on that, move his feet nicely.
Ninth play of this drive. 49ers need a touchdown. I mean, you'll take the field goal, but they need a touchdown. Hyde and Kaepernick visit back at the 10-yard line. 3rd and 3. They're going to throw it. That's Selleck, and that's a touchdown. Boy, what a beautifully designed play that was. And Selleck, who fumbled one away earlier, in for the score, his first receiving touchdown of the year.
They created a traffic jam and then brought him back against the wash. Watch everything go this way and watch him come back against the grain. See, the receivers come both inside, and essentially they're screening off here to allow Selleck access in the opposite direction, and Kaepernick puts it on him for a touchdown.
And so the one thing you do to counter that is if you're going to play that, to avoid that traffic jam, you have to get up in tight press coverage so you do not let them have a clean release, and you can avoid all the traffic coming across the field.
And all the picks that come along with it.
Point after. One of the game's all-time great field goal kickers is Phil Dawson. Well, 49ers back in this thing. $91 yards in 9 plays. Kaepernick 51 yards through the air and ran for 10. And all of a sudden, it is a 3-point game halfway through this 3rd quarter.
Good mix of play calling by Chip Kelly right there. Kind of like how they started the game. Oh, run, pass, had some success, build confidence.
Drake a couple of yards from his own end zone, and look out. Drake is off to the races with the kicker Dawson to beat. Slows him down enough to be caught from behind by Tart. But what a return by Kenyon Drake. He had that 96-yard touchdown to beat the New York Jets earlier this year.
Yeah, and the whole thing about kickoff returns, don't block in the back, don't hold, and don't block behind the football. Phil Dawson, the 18-year vet, actually, he was an ex-teammate of mine, believe it or not. That's how old he is. Actually was able to slow him down and cut him outside. Look at the good discipline of not holding, not blocking in the back, and not blocking behind the ball on kickoff return. That's where you get killed, when you block behind the football.
Phil Dawson, you played with Phil. How old are you?
That's 18 years.
Man, I didn't know.
Dawson is 41 years young, and he is young, because he can still really get it done. Boy, you just wonder, that's the 3rd time in this game. One time they had the big run, the other 2 times Tannehill has taken a wicked hit, this time from Hodges.
I do believe that when you're going to run this play, in order to have the quarterback success, that ball's got to be handed off a few times inside. It can't always be pulling it and getting it to the outside. You've got to make them respect it a somewhat inside, because they're really playing for Tannehill, not the back on the zone read.
You got to realize that you're an NFL guy, and you're playing against NFL guys. They're not going to get fooled like 3 times on the same play.
Tannehill pump fake and threw high, was nearly intercepted.
That should not have been thrown. It's like a double pump, and that very easily could have ended the drive. Jaquaski Tart If he comes down with that one, this drive's over. That's one Tannehill's going to look at on film and say, nope, I got to keep that one in my hand. Sometimes you just have to, discretion has to be a better part of valor. See, I pumped it twice, and then he lets it go. The only one who had a chance to catch it was Tart from San Francisco.
Well, that's a 3-step drop, so that ball needs to come out now. So on a 3-step drop, the routes are being run at 3, 5, and 7 yards. So then your safeties now become a part of this field.
If you take it,
play.
Exactly. If you're going to take a shot up top, it's for Devontae Parker.
They're looking that way, and he is sacked all the way back to the 38-yard line. Leading the way was Ronald Blair, the rookie out of Appalachian State.
So you see Jarvis Landry 14, Kenny Stills 10, and look at the coverage. Everyone's got them. So that allows these guys to do their work up front. And coming right there, Ronald Blair from Appalachian State, able to get home and get Tannehill on the ground.
And so if you're singled and you're a 3 technique, he was able to beat Bushrod in one-on-one. If you're singled inside, an offensive guard, usually his weakest attribute is pass protection. So those pass rushers inside have to win those battles, which he did.
And a lot of those pass rushers nowadays are defensive ends that they kick inside to use their quickness against those guards who have trouble blocking there.
Well, it looks as though the Dolphins are just going to take a delay of game penalty and give their punter, Matt Darr, a little more room to work with.
Now, can you decline this if you're the defense? Because if you can, you kind of put them in a tough spot in terms of no man's land. It makes it tougher on your punter. Why give him the extra 5 in order to hit it?
Game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Well, he was kicking field goals from 60, Tom, in warm-ups.
Tell you one thing now, that's a very exuberant 49er defense coming off the field. They had that huge return, and you're thinking, wow, you just got a touchdown to get within 3. It looked like Miami was going to get points, and they are very excited, and rightfully so.
They're playing complementary football, Chris. The offense just went down and scored. The defense just picked them up again on their end. So now you've got it spreading through your team. On a 1-9 team, you need some type of a spark to get everyone involved. Those last 2 series may very well have done that for the 49ers.
Kaepernick coming off that 91-yard touchdown drive will get the football with a little more than 5 minutes to go, it appears, here in the 3rd quarter, down by just 3 points. End over end punt by Darr. And it bounces right through a pair of Miami players that were trying to get down there in time.
And they need some really big rings. They need some really nice things. Better be coming with no strings. Better be coming with no strings.
Sponsored by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon.
Miami's offense unable to turn into points. The big return. And now the 49ers down by 3 with 5:19 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Give it to Carlos Hyde. He keeps running very hard. A gain of 5 and a penalty flag on the play.
Holding. Offense. Number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
A tough day for Joe Staley, and he appears to be limping as well.
And it could have been a better setup for Miami. Watch Bobby McCain 28. He's locating the football, so he didn't see Jeremy Curley get out of the way in time, because once he got out of the way, McCain should have gone ahead and caught the ball and downed it there.
And you see Jimmy Ward, number 25 for the 49ers, came in, took out Walt Aikens, knocked him to the ground, so he was not able to down the ball. Every yard counts when you're a team that struggles, like both Miami and San Francisco do in scoring points.
Kaepernick slings it across the middle into double, even triple coverage with an eye on Smith. Incomplete.
It's late. The ball's late. The number 1 attribute for me, if I'm a coach and a defensive back coach, is corners with closing speed. Right here, he's very physical at very physical at the point of attack. Now watch the closing speed right here, guys. That's beautiful, and that ball is late and behind where Maxwell can close and do a great job of not hooking with the right arm, batting it away with the left arm.
So that turned out to be one very good trade for these Dolphins, getting both Byron Maxwell along with Kiko Alonso. Now, there was some risk in that deal. There are a lot of people been bad-mouthing Maxwell for the last year or two with Philadelphia. And Alonzo, you mentioned Nick Tuck. He was not even a good player for the last 2 years since leaving Buffalo. Both have played very well this year.
You remember he was a great player as a rookie with Buffalo before the knee injuries hit. And Maxwell got benched earlier this year. I believe Cincinnati game. He did not play well. And Vance Joseph, his defense coordinator, just spoke the truth to him. You're not playing well, so we're benching you. Are you going to respond? And since then, he's played well against some pretty good receivers.
On a single 3-and-out for the 49ers, and they lead the planet in that category. Although they will get their first 3-and-out now. The penalty put him behind the chains. Streeter, a very short completion. And the Dolphins figure to get very good field position.
It's a tremendous play by Bobby McCain. I love this stuff because he doesn't give one for one. Not only does he do his job and force the ball back out, but he's going to avoid the block. Watch him avoid the block right here. See that little quick swim? That's Staley followed down trying to cut him. That's not giving one for one and making a play for your team.
I like what you said when you're saying one for one, meaning Bobby McCain didn't go up and just block into Staley and take each of them out. Chris talked about him evading and making a play.
Landry avoids one tackler, but not a host of others. Dropped at the 40-yard line. So after the 3-and-out, 17-14 Miami. Well, you figured on paper coming into the game that Miami would be able to run the ball at will against this 49er defense. That has not been the story so far.
Glenn Dorsey in the middle, number 90, makes a massive difference in run defense for the 49ers.
Nose guard's the most important position, 3-4 defense. Stop the run.
Well, they're going to try it again, and Ajayi is chopped down right at the line of scrimmage. Well played by Gerald Hodges. Pac-12 championship comes your way Friday night. Colorado v. Washington. Saturday, number 6 Wisconsin, number 7 Penn State. Friday night coverage at 8. Saturday from Indianapolis, coverage begins at 7 Eastern on Fox. You've called a number of those games, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. And look, Washington is right there, guys. They win the Pac-12 championship. I don't know how they're going to keep them out of the playoff 4.
Tannehill being chased and is able to turn the corner. How about that? We quickly check in with Carissa Thompson back in Los Angeles. Carissa.
Thanks, Tom. Back to Atlanta we go. They're trying to stay atop the NFC South, and that helps. Tevin Coleman, 2-yard rushing touchdown. Falcons up 24-13.
Carissa, did you just go Tevin Campbell? Is she trying to bring you back? Huh? I like that.
They're an explosive offense. Man, do they have it going this year. A lot of different weapons defending those Falcons.
And I think it's safe to say that the two teams in the NFL this year where you just scratch your head and you ask the question, what happened? Are the two teams that many predicted would play in the Super Bowl this year. And that would be the Bengals from the AFC, and it would be the Cardinals from the NFC.
And the Cardinals have been just a little bit off right from the word go. Think about opening night. No Tom Brady, get Jimmy Garoppolo, and they lose that one at home. Everyone thought they'd win that one, and it's been a struggle ever since.
Exactly right. Tannehill able to avoid trouble, still looking around, throws down the field. And did he come down and bounce? What a play by Devontae Parker. Are you kidding me? Shaking up on the play. Now getting up on his knees. What a great throw and a great catch.
Well, first of all, protection doesn't allow him to get Jarvis Landry. Because you're such a good athlete, like Tannehill, you're able to make and extend plays and make plays off schedule. Landry was open right there, but instead, Jarvis Landry working back to the ball, and Charles talked about it, the athletic ability to go high in the air, catch it at its highest point, then knowing where you're on the field to come down and with 2 feet and stay in bounds.
Ooh, wait a minute now. They may challenge this call.
Take a look.
Looked like his arm came down out of bounds.
There's one foot, and then the arm came
that's
down.
Coming back. Challenge thrown by Chip Kelly. Mike Pereira back in Los Angeles at our command center. What do you think here, young man?
Well, I think they're going to reverse this to an incomplete pass. He's got to now go back and see what the yardage is going to be for the next play, but Hand comes down, maybe touches inbound first and then slides out of bounds before the second foot. But the hand being down does not count. You have to get 2 feet or another body part other than the hands or feet. So I think it's incomplete.
So, Mike, this is essentially the same play he had earlier, just on the sideline as opposed to the end zone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, although the other one was closer, and the other one really was close to simultaneous. And by the way, if you get a knee down and a hand that comes down out of bounds, if it's simultaneous, it's incomplete. So, but this one's a little clearer.
All right, we are waiting on Ron Torbert.
But they may reverse this, but Tannehill threw it to Parker because he knew what he had downfield and his ability to go up and get the football. That was a trust throw.
Yeah.
I know what my receiver can do, and I trust him to go up and get it. It may be reversed, but the Dolphins are not going to regret that throw.
And our statistician, Tom Barbary, could go down there and tell them right now that it's going to be 3rd and 3 at the San Francisco 43-yard line.
Tom Barbary's pretty good.
The pride of Orlando, Florida.
Yes, sir.
I thought Charles was a pride of Orlando, Florida.
He is. So is Holly.
Can't beat out Barbary.
I mean, that's a popular place to be, apparently.
The ruling on the field will be reversed. The receiver's left hand came down before the second foot. It's an incomplete pass. San Francisco will not be charged with a timeout. It'll be Miami's ball, 3rd and 3 at the 42 and a half. Please set the game clock to 1 minute, 40 seconds, please. 1-4-0.
You know, you just said about Tom Barbary, it's a 42 and a half for crying out loud. It's not the 43.
No longer the pride of Orlando.
Yeah. But the amazing thing to me, and watching Parker elevate, it's unbelievable how high he went. When you see it in slow motion, you get such an appreciation for these great athletes.
You ask every GM, every scout, I'll guarantee in their schedule what they had written down for him coming out of college was that ability to elevate. His ability to play above other people really helped his draft status and upped his stock. Now you got, what, 3rd and 3 here?
Yep.
You know, Jarvis Landry hasn't been a huge part of this, but what do we talk about him all the time? He runs like a running back after the catch. Find a way to get the ball in his hands, maybe something short, because the running game hasn't been paramount for the Dolphins today.
So if you're the 49ers, what you have to do is you have to line up, you have to play press coverage and man, and if I'm them, to eliminate the scramble for Tannehill, I bring pressure right up the gut and make sure my outside pass rushers do not let 17 escape out the back door.
They've been very good today on 3rd down. You saw they're 5 of 9, and they've not been very good on 3rd down for the season. They're going to go to Kenny Stills. He spins away and goes into the end zone, a touchdown.
Throw away from the safety. Now this ball is thrown short and behind on purpose. Stills is right here. He's going to win off the line of scrimmage. 41, Bethea is going to come, but he's late, and watch the ball being thrown right behind him. Stills does a good job of catching and transitioning from catch to run.
No doubt, but watch the angle that Antoine Bethea takes. It's got to be a little bit higher for Kenny Stills. Watch, see, he's underneath him. So ordinarily, Antoine Bethea takes excellent angles to the football. This one was too shallow. So he either had to get the football or you saw the end result. Normally, he makes a better angle to the pass receiver.
Yeah, Bethea's been a good player for a long time in this league, going back to his days in Indianapolis. And the point after is good. Stills is the big play guy. I mean, they have a lot of big play guys. But he averages 18 yards per catch. That's his 5th touchdown this year of 20 or more. So a 10-point game. You know, we brought up the Michigan Wolverines, and that's where Jim Harbaugh is now. And for the 49ers since 13, one pass away from a return trip. Harbaugh fired after an 8-8 season. Jim Tomsula brought in, and many are wondering how bad was Tomsula now? I mean, they won 5 games. This year they've won 1, and there are a lot of people that follow the 49ers that will tell you that their roster, outside of some key injuries on defense, but those have come recently, that was a better roster this year than the one they had last year. So ultimately, what does that mean for the general manager, who, by the way, has been here for all three of those coaches in Trent Baalke, and the one-year head coach, at least so far, Chip Kelly?
I'll let you go first, Chris, but I have an opinion on that one, too.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know if Chip and Trent are on the same page. We talked about Chip saying to Trent, we're only built to run the ball. In other words, they need to get skill and get better out on the edges, in my opinion.
And don't forget how this season began. Remember, Kaepernick got benched last year. Blaine Gabbert became the quarterback, but Blaine Gabbert did not turn out to be the world beater quarterback. And one more time in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win a heck of a lot of games. And that's where they've been. They've been hurting at the QB position.
Well, nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do, and you can catch them on FS1's daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weekdays at 5 Eastern. Well, I mean, that is really the talk in the Bay Area about, where are you going to go? Kaepernick has a contract beyond next year, although he could elect to get out of that contract. And look, there's no sane man alive that believes that Kaepernick is going to want out of that contract, because it will pay him far more than any other team would pay him on the open market.
I think the 49ers have an option as well. They've got to decide what they want to do at that spot.
You have to do, and you do this great job for the NFL Network. You have to then evaluate, is there a quarterback there worth a top 3 pick
that you're sold on? And as we head towards that right now, I would tell you, I'm not sure we're going to have quarterbacks we're going to talk about to the same level this year as we did last year with Wentz and Goff. I'm not sure we're going to get to that level.
And Dominican Sue, first time we've called his name all day today.
This is beautiful, because you cannot single him. He's had a great year. Watch number 93. We talk about hands in win. The other thing you tell young players, extend. You see the extension, and that's a big guy that he's just thrown to the side to make
field goal at center.
He's been tremendous this year for this Dolphins defense.
And that's hard. That's 308 pounds of center that he just jacked backwards and ended up making the play.
To the big money free agent leaving the Lions a season ago. Here's a 3rd down and 3. And Kaepernick is thrown to the turf. And that's Cameron Wake. What an incredible career this undrafted college free agent has had.
Well, it's all about speed right here. Cameron Wake just comes. Look at the little dip. You see, we always talk about pad level. When you're a speeder, an outside rusher, if you can bend your knees and run a hula hoop, run a circle around a hula hoop, guess what? The results are that. Sack. Got caught in his wake.
Well, the 49ers had drawn within 3, but then the touchdown pass to Stills makes it a 10-point game, and we're set to begin the 4th quarter. And the Dolphins will be getting the football. Cameron Wake's 78.5 career sacks. We mentioned he's undrafted. Only John Randall and James Harrison have more as undrafted players. He's going to call a fair catch for Landry back at the 30. Well, a few stops along the way before Adam Gase got to where he wanted to. He started in Detroit. We told you he grew up in Michigan. Was with the 49ers for a year. But his big break with Denver. Got together with Peyton Manning there. Wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, 1 year in Chicago, and then the youngest head coach in the league at 38. And I'm going to tell you what, things are going good right now, but it goes to show you how quickly they can change, because when he was 1-4, there were a whole lot of people around here wondering, was he the right hire?
Well, you know how that goes. It's all based on record, but things have kicked in. And the thing about him, he's been extremely consistent from the beginning, establishing himself, and this team has bought in finally. Leaving Jay Ajayi home before the Seattle game is a big message to his ball club.
We're going to see a whole bunch of this in his 4th quarter. By far the biggest run for Ajayi. In fact, that might be more than he had the entire game. No, 18 yards. He had 19 before that carry.
And Adam told us this was Jay's favorite play. It's called the outside zone, and it's set up perfectly. And right there, you see 64 falling down. Yeah, he's falling down. not getting to his area of responsibility, which created the open area.
And Mike Purcell plays the nose, and we talked about what Glenn Dorsey's done for them in run defense. Handling things inside, they handled the nose on that play, and look at the gap they created.
Sims, and you can understand how he's able to run through a would-be tackler. That's a big man out of Michigan State. Goes 271 pounds.
And his two linebackers, Charles, missing tackles.
And Gerald Hodges goes 236, a former starter for a while in Minnesota. Tried to wrap up, ran through it. Ballard brought no arms on the play, ran right through him. Watch Hodges, 51. 236, he's listed to the 271, tries to grab him and fling him. He shakes him off. Ballard just tries to block him down. That doesn't work before Brock able to wrap him up.
Well, he wrapped him up, but he's still not tackled.
No, he's just, hey, Brock was just trying to hang on. All right, that's a lot of man right there.
Back in the hands of Ajayi, and that'll bring up a second down. We check in downstairs again with Holly Saunders.
Guys, just an injury update here for the 49ers. Shane Stobe is out with a knee injury, as is Quentin Patton. He's out with the concussion. They will not return. And as for the Dolphins, Mario Williams, we saw him head to the locker room. I'm told he has an illness. He is questionable to return, as is Devontae Parker with a back injury, guys.
Holly Saunders all over it today. And Holly, thank you very much. They get to Ajayi. And perfectly thrown ball to Landry, and that is a first down to the 12-yard line.
Not only are there levels on drop-back pass, but levels off a bootleg, and this is just a growth in the zone read option that Adam Gase and Tannehill have brought in. First of all, it's a nice fake and ball fake. Landry's going to come all the way across. You're going to have a guy in the flat. Stills is in the flat. Landry in the middle. You'll have a deep guy coming over the top along with Sims. Just find the open guy. Be patient. In one place where Tannehill's extremely accurate, throwing the football, rolling to his right.
And you can rest assured that he not only tells you it's a first down with his finger, he will tell you with his words. Because of any player in the league, I'm not sure that anybody talks more trash out on that field than Jarvis Landry.
You put him in Steve Smith category?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. He's right there with him.
And Antoine Bethea talked about that. He said that he had a meeting with his fellow defensive backs and said, look, this guy plays the game right up to the edge and will let you know about it, so we better be prepared.
Yeah.
And he said it reminds me the most of Steve Smith in action and attitude, the way he goes about his business on the field.
On a bad guy amulet.
No.
He's been some kind of player for a long time. And it is into the end zone. First time in the career for the rookie, Leonte Carroo. And the fourth quarter, once again, an unraveling point for these 49ers.
Well, to me, you watch Carroo's going to work here one-on-one. And the ball's delivered so quickly and so much on time that Carroo does not have to work or reach for the ball. So the transition from catch to run is so smooth that Ward cannot even close. Because look, and the stiff arm to get away. Leonte Carroo, we saw him at Rutgers, Charles. He's a big man that's also a great athlete.
Another strong kid, 217 pounds. You've got to really wrap him up. He gets into the end zone again. Nice job by Kenny Stills running a clear-out route on that side.
Going after is good. Well, what a moment for Carroo. First career touchdowns. He's the all-time leader in Rutgers history in receiving touchdowns, and now one to add to the resume as a pro.
Is sponsored by the all-new 2017 Ford Super Duty. This is the next level. And by the $10 any carry-out deal from Pizza Hut. Only at Pizza Hut.
Well, the Miami Dolphins closing in on what would be their 6th consecutive win. Carroo, his first career touchdown. 11:31 to go, and it's 31-14 Miami. Wobbling in the end zone is Shepard, and he'll take a knee.
Chris Spielman, we played defense back in the days. Does this remind you of anything? Remember, Ja'Cory Shepherd just fumbled that kickoff in the end zone. He's over there doing the push-ups right now for dropping the ball.
Now, that's something that you do and hold each other accountable. I like it, actually, because there's still accountability being held.
Just because it's a game day, right? Just because it's game day, you're not, you're not abdicating your duty. And Shepard's a guy that I think they're going to start to work into the defensive rotation before too much longer. He played for Chip Kelly in Philadelphia.
Kaepernick throws down the middle and is dropped by Selleck. Been a tough day for Selleck. Normally he's a pretty dependable guy, but a fumble inside the 15 earlier. Let's see if this was thrown behind him.
This is a ball that he has to catch, and that's a 1-19 right there. And we know this team is not built to come from behind, but every time they've had an opportunity to make a play, they have not.
It's another number, and the game is overloaded with numbers. We understand that, but when you're a 1-19, contact in the secondary, flags come down. The 49ers, as far as the percentage of pass attempts that have been dropped by whoever the ball has been thrown to, 8% of the time they've thrown a pass, it's been dropped.
Pass interference. Defense, number 41. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
The league average is 5.
Tells you what you need to know. Here's Byron Maxwell. And they had 7 penalties on their defensive backs in Miami, in San Diego, Chris, remember? Yep. And a lot of people would have to be up in arms over that. My God, what are we doing? Vance Joseph, their coordinator, he would much rather them have those types of penalties because he says, now I know my guys are close and maybe we'll have a shot at making a play on the ball. He wants to clean it up, but he's not going to just lose his mind because he likes the tight coverage.
Well, let's not forget, that's also a game they intercepted Phillip Rivers 4 times in 1 quarter.
In the 4th quarter to finalize things.
And Alonso, who intercepted the game winner in that victory at San Diego, delivers a hit here on Kaepernick.
Yeah, he's just going to come free on a blitz, and they did not pick it up. You see Carlos Hyde was late coming back to help, taking a shot at Kaepernick.
You see all of Kiko Alonso's speed is back, guys. You see that? Because that interception at San Diego was a 60-yard return for a touchdown.
Kaepernick will run it himself and step out of bounds right at the 45. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7. Alonso has really fit in nicely here. He has really, embraced Miami's Latin culture. His mother is Colombian born. His father is Cuban born. He speaks fluent Spanish and has become a very popular player here in recent weeks.
Yeah, it really became a perfect match for him in terms of lifestyle, culture, and now with his health back, you're seeing the Kiko Alonso we saw as a rookie in Buffalo.
They don't even get to play off. That was time called.
Delay of game.
No.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Let's check in back in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Falcons' Taylor Gabriel had 1 touchdown his first 2.5 years in the league. He's got 5 in his last 4 games, including 2 spectacular ones today, as the Falcons are rolling right now against Arizona in the 4th quarter, 31-13.
That Falcons team is really playing well.
Is there a more explosive team than them when they get rolling? I mean, they're right there with anyone, aren't they?
Especially when they have their running backs healthy.
They are right there with anyone, the way they can put points on the board.
So 3rd and 7 becomes 3rd and 12 after the delay penalty. And they will still get the first down on a completion to Chris Harper. Only his 3rd catch all year long.
Just not much awareness for the Dolphins defense of understanding where the stakes are.
But look at the distance off. And now the ability to run the football, not knowing where the first down line was. I mean, if you're going to rush 4, right, don't you have to know where the sticks are?
That too, and Charles, and the other thing is you have to get your head back in zone to the quarterback so you get a break on the football to stop it before the marker and read the quarterback's eyes and break when that ball's delivered. They were late on their breaks.
Catch made by McDonald, the big tight end, and he's inside the 10-yard line down to the 9-yard line. And that's one guy right there that they have to be excited at his season in an otherwise down year.
It's two deep safeties, and if you do not jam the vertical, 53 for Miami is wrong. That's Jelani Jenkins. You have to run with him or jam him to take pressure off the safeties, because that's too easy of a read for the tight end, and it's too easy of a read for Kaepernick. You have to jam and disrupt the timing of the route to take the pressure off the safeties.
Remember earlier in the game, Deion Sims didn't get jammed, gets into the end zone for a touchdown. McDonald right down the middle with a well-thrown football.
First down and goal from the 9. They'll give it to Carlos Hyde, and he barrels close to the goal line. Well, it looked like he got there, but apparently, a foot short maybe?
There had to be good push in there, Chris. Had to be. Watch Carlos Hyde. Watch the offensive line. Look at that push in space. See how the guard, Zane Beadles, was able to get up onto the second level and block the linebacker, Kiko Alonso.
Well, they're going to give Hyde a chance to earn it, and he loses half a yard. So now all of a sudden it's 3rd down and goal.
This better job now. Coming off that line of scrimmage, you see the gold helmets go backwards. They did not win the initial surge, so you're able to create a stack of bodies in there, closing down any and all running lanes. That was great surge by the front 7 of the Dolphins.
Terrence Fede leading the charge there, along with Nick Williams. Safe play of this drive. And they're in obvious 4-down territory, trailing 31-14. Kaepernick to throw it. What a catch made, a one-handed grab by Torrey Smith. Well, he looked one way, had to turn back and look the other way, then hauled it in with one hand.
And this is Torrey Smith here. He's going to end up breaking to the outside. Look at that. He ended up getting a nice pick from Rod Streeter, number 81.
Tony Lippett was late on the exchange of coverage with Maxwell.
See, to me, remember Holly talked about communication earlier in the game?
Yeah.
I don't think the DBs talk to each other. It'd be like a basketball game where you always talk about time. You coach your son's team, right? You always talk about talking and switches and things of that nature. They didn't talk to each other because you could see the pick coming. Doesn't talk to him. Nicely done by San Francisco.
Tells Luke, run through the pick. Run through him. Take him out.
I'm starting to say the only communication going on is one way. And not a lot of talking going on.
Is sponsored by Sprint. Visit Sprint.com. Switch and save today.
Southridge advanced into Florida 8A playoffs. That's a big school division. They beat Coral Gables 28-10. Keymore Gamble, he will be a Florida Gator. That's him on a touchdown looking ahead of next year. And Southridge will play in the state semifinals this coming Friday night thanks to Hunter Volpe from Fox 7 right here in Miami for that footage.
You don't need to recruit for Florida anymore. I mean, you know, right? I mean, after last night, my volunteers could use some help, couldn't they?
That young man may want to change his mind.
Okay, because he hadn't signed yet, right? All right, just checking.
Trying to get down there in time. And the ball is covered up by Miami. That was Williams in the bottom of that pile covering it up.
Well, they're fortunate.
Flag.
They are fortunate because that ball was free and live. That could have been a huge play for San Francisco.
So Phil Dawson throws the knuckler on him right here, like Phil Necro used to do.
There you go.
And right there, the rule is if you're a front man, you let that ball go past you. You have time, and let the guys that are used to fielding the ball and touching the ball, let them pick it up.
Necro was great, but I still say Hoyt Wilhelm threw a heck of a knuckleball now, guys.
He did that.
All right, and Jim Boughton on his return was a knuckleballer.
There is no foul for a kickoff out of bounds. The ball was recovered by a player who was out of bounds after last being touched by the receiving team. It's Miami's ball, 1st and 10.
Dolphins have won 5 consecutive games. And with 7:38 to play here in the fourth quarter, they have a 10-point lead. 7:38 to go. And they're going to throw it on first down. Tannehill throws low, and it's incomplete.
I don't know how you guys feel, but to me, this is a monster possession for San Francisco's defense.
And what I'm liking what San Francisco's defense is doing, they're getting pressure, and they're coming with blitz, and they're playing man-to-man coverage. They're going to force the Dolphins to make plays, and that was a drop ball by Landry. That ball was thrown low and away from the defensive back. He needs to come up with that catch.
They came into this game with 18 takeaways on the season. Now would be a great time for the 19th. Just down 10, 7:32 to go. This is huge for their D.
See the man across the board.
Tannehill going to run it himself, and he's tripped up after a gain of about 2. So now third down upcoming.
Disciplined football by Ballore. Don't chase Ajayi. Do your job. Exactly what he does and does not chase. Trust his instincts. Look to him. Runs and anticipates where the hole is and fields it beautifully. Now, who's going to win athlete against athlete? Skill position against skill position. This is where the 49ers line up. They play man. See who's better.
Remember, Devontae Parker is not on the field for Miami, so you don't have that bailout, throw it up high, throw it to him now.
They come with his own pressure here.
Damian Williams still on his feet, but he'll be bottled up far short of the first down, so a 3 and out that takes less, and now as it continues to run, a little more than 1 minute off the clock.
They play 2-man here. That means 2 safeties over the top, man underneath, and you see Ballore eyeing Williams and does a good job of defeating his man one-on-one, forcing it back inside to the trailing pursuiters for the 49ers.
Back-to-back excellent plays by Nick Ballore have given San Francisco a chance to get the football back.
When all is said and done, there's going to be a minute and a half total. Run off that clock. And this is Curley. He's running the wrong way. Now he'll take what he can get. He's up to the 20-yard line. And we go back to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
And Jason Pierre-Paul may be all the way back from that devastating hand injury. This one falls right into his hands. He takes it 43 yards for a score. He's also got 2 sacks in the game. He had 2.5 last week. The Giants trying to hold off the Browns, who just scored with 20-13 in the fourth. Tom, Chris, Charles, and Holly.
Tell you what, though, Cleveland hanging in there. I mean, only down 7, and let's face it, you know, in the NFC East, you're chasing Dallas. You better get every win you can get because, I mean,
yeah,
6 games left to go, but you're down by 2.
In a lot of ways, you're really not chasing Dallas. You're dealing with the other 3 teams that you're dealing with, trying to get that wild card spot between Philadelphia, New York, and Washington.
Right now, the Giants would be in line for a wild card in the NFC. Kaepernick will take off running and will slide to the 27. Well, they got to be in hurry-up mode here. I am stunned. They are not getting this team to the line of scrimmage faster, down by 10.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Tom. And again, we know what Cullen's going to do. Anytime there's nobody there right now so he can deliver the ball, he knows what his skill is to get the ball downfield, put down the ball, get back and line up and run a play.
Stands tall in the pocket, delivers a strike to the crossing streeter. But again, you just watch the 49ers right now. You know, you're down by 10 points, and there's just no feeling of urgency here in this game right now.
It's really oxymoronic because when you think of the 49ers and Chip Kelly, you think about how fast they go on offense usually. This year they back that off some because he wants to make sure they're in the proper play. But a team that usually goes fast doesn't go fast in situations you would think would dictate it.
Good throw again by Kaepernick, who has played well here today. I mean, give him credit. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes. He's run the ball very, very well for over 80 yards so far in the game.
And in fairness, he's seeing the field well because Miami is playing smart. I mean, it's very annoying to a lot of people. The thing you want to do is keep the ball in front of you so those short little routes are going to be open. The one thing you do never want to do is let that ball go over your head. So he should be able to move the ball at least down to the 20-yard line. That's when you get aggressive on defense.
Well, they're going to let him take these 7, 8, 9-yard completions until the clock just simply runs out.
Exactly. They'll bleed it out on defense, essentially.
And now they need to call a timeout. So, you know, fellas, let's get back to something we started to talk a little bit about earlier on, and that's this whole, 49er kind of direction. We'll get back to the Dolphins here in a minute if they're able to squelch this drive. Your brother is a general manager with the Minnesota Vikings. Rick Spielman, been there a number of years and obviously done an outstanding job. But, that job right now for Trent Baalke, it's got to be pretty tenuous, I would assume, right now.
Well, here's the thing, and I don't know what their relationship is, but I know for any successful program or team, the GM and the head coach have to be on the same page, and egos cannot be involved. So whatever that is, they need to get to it.
Don't forget, it's their first year together, deciding direction.
That's right. Good throw there by Kaepernick on second down. Caught by McDonald. He's shaken up on the play.
So even though they did bring pressure, this is a zone blitz, so you're still allows you to bring pressure. But if you don't get there, what happens is there's too much time for the receivers to work downfield, and you don't have enough people in coverage. Good job by Kaepernick sliding his feet to the open throwing space.
McDonald able to get up and walk off the field, although he is walking, it looks like, straight to the bench. Don't know if we'll see him anytime soon. Kaepernick 3 of 3 on the drive, and it's incomplete. His first incompletion on it. 4:17 to go, and Miami in front by 10.
Vance Joseph, defense coordinator for Miami, he's mixing things up, guys. Because Chris had just talked about them playing two-man, 2 deep safeties, everyone else playing man-to-man underneath. That time he went to what we call cover 1. 1 deep safety in the middle of the field, everyone else locked up man-to-man.
And it brought 5 guys on pressure to take away a running lane for Cap.
Second down, and Kaepernick is sacked. Penalty flag down, however. Andre Branch, who's really beginning to assert himself on this Miami defense, in on the sack.
Holding. Offense number 68. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is third down.
That's Zane Beadles, so the stack stands for Branch.
See Branch coming from the outside.
There is right here is where the hold had happened. As Beadles 68, he was working on Earl Mitchell, number 90, who just came back 2 weeks ago after being on IR after getting hurt in the season opener against Seattle.
Here's where they play Sue at linebacker. Look at the big fellow in his glory.
That's not fair to give him a run.
He's spying. Got in the throwing lane. Not bad for an LB.
Kaepernick, I don't know if he had that tipped or really odd release trying to get it over a defender.
Look at the agility here, Chris.
Yeah. He's not selling that blitz. He's going to play a little spy right here.
And look at him move with the quarterback and try and get into the throwing lane. Just what you said.
But you notice what he did, guys? He took 2 offensive linemen so they couldn't go help. So then that leads the outside guys one-on-one to win their battles.
I don't think he's going to spy on this one, do you?
Well, it's 4th down and 15. It's pretty much it for the Niners. Even with 4 minutes to go, down 10. Kaepernick throws, and they cash in on 4th and 15 on the reception by Harper. 2 catches today, his first 2 ever last week.
For the life of me, I don't know why we're going to have Cameron Wake play zone defense. Just be smart. Don't outthink yourself. And just let your pass rusher on 4th and 15 be your pass rusher.
Let him do what he does.
Oh, my gosh.
And give credit to Kaepernick. Kept that play alive, extended it, and made a really nice throw.
Harper a couple big catches on these last 2 drives, and he had a wide open Blake Bell incomplete.
I think sometimes, and Vance is a tremendous defensive coach, but you don't overthink it in that situation. You have a guy that has 8.5 sacks in a year. 4th and 15. Let's not drop him into the zone.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let him be him? Is it that simple?
Crossing pattern underneath. Reception by Drone. Takes on a couple of tacklers. Knocks a helmet off one of them. All the way inside the 20 to the 18.
He's working on Jelani Jenkins. And again, this is a matchup that you like. See, Jelani's just a little late to the party. And I love the acceleration after the catch, Charles.
How about how he put his foot in the ground after making the catch and got upfield vertically? Something about Shane Drone, when he gets opportunities, he makes nice plays.
He's played with 6 different teams over 5 years, but may have found a home here in San Francisco his second year with the Niners. Needing points in a hurry. Kaepernick's going to take off inside the 10, and he'll step out of bounds right at the 10.
Watch the nimble hips. Sue has a shot at him right here, number 93. He's going to keep working and have a shot right there. And just enough athletic ability to avoid the contact of the big man and smart enough to get out of bounds to avoid a hit and stop the clock.
39 rushing yards today for Kaepernick, and he's thrown for 238.
Remember all the offseason surgeries he had to come back, build his body up. Yep. This is as close to the Colin Kaepernick as we've seen since his return.
You're right about that. Kaepernick now throws across the middle. It's dropped. Probably a good thing for the 49ers when all's said and done. Penalty flag is down.
Not in a good spot for San Francisco either.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense, number 77. It's a 15-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
That's the big man, Trent Brown. Looks like Cameron Wake lined up in that wide 9 trying to get after him. And Brown right there at the end, I think he got his hand up into the face mask area, and that was the call. He was 387 pounds, guys, when he came to camp in 2015. 387. They pared him down to 355.
Oh.
He played left tackle at the University of Florida.
Kaepernick is able to dance away from trouble, and now we'll just throw it out of bounds. I mean, you know, we see a lot of these very big men play football every single week. When you just look at the 49ers lineup at the line of scrimmage, the overwhelming size of Trent Brown is staggering.
Now, he's a tremendous athlete for his size, and you know, just watching him in his pass stance, you'll see that right foot sneak back a little bit, and they do that so he can open up his hips so he can handle any type of speed off the corner. And it's been decent all game as far as pass protection.
Third down, Kaepernick throws to Drone, lowers his shoulder, and he's to the 17-yard line. So that's basically where they were before the penalty on this drive. So they're going to go ahead and take the field goal try now. This clock continues to run.
We're going to get to the 2-minute warning.
Sense of urgency.
Essentially get to the 2-minute warning by the time this is all said and done.
I know you love to save your timeouts. This will be a 36-yard field goal try. And it is good. Boy, what a career this guy has had. We rarely ever talk about kickers much, but he's one of 10 kickers all time to reach 400 field goals made. All right, so now the Dolphins have a chance, couple of first downs, Charles, to put this thing away. It would be 6 consecutive wins if they're able to do it. We got an onside kick maybe coming up. We don't know with the 2-minute warning still to go. But, you know, the Dolphins, they're right where they want to be after the 1-4 start.
They're right where they want to be if they're able to close this one out, just as you pointed out, because that onside kick, or even if they kick it deep, 2 timeouts for San Francisco now. They've got a chance to hold them on defense. It's not like Miami's marched up and down the field, Chris. So right now, again, we're focused on San Francisco's defense. Can they get a key turnover? Can they take it away and give their offense a chance?
And the Dolphins identify themselves as a fourth quarter team. Well, not only comebacks in fourth quarter, but closing games out in the fourth quarter, and they'll have a chance to do that now.
And don't forget, guys, that retooled offensive line. Remember, when they have what they call the Fab Five plan, the Tunsil and Pouncey and Albert, they were running the heck out of the football. Not the same running it here in this situation where you can close the game out. Let's see what Adam Gase decides to do if they get the ball here, if they possess it, and see how he tries to run offense down the stretch.
I mean, they've got receivers up there guarding against his Miami, against this onside kick. And let's see if that's indeed what the 49ers do.
This looks like they're going to kick it deep.
Okay, I think they have to.
Yep. And only Grant is back there from the goal line. And he steps out of bounds at the 12. So let's check in with Curtis Thompson again back in Los Angeles.
Back to Cleveland we go, Tom. Miami's looking for their 6th straight. So are the Giants. This one helps. Eli Manning to Odell Beckham. His second of the day. Giants at 27-13. If this score holds up, the Browns will remain winless. Tom?
Did you guys see what he just did? He just paid homage, or however you want to pronounce it, to LeBron James. He did the powder thing where it starts. He did LeBron's little celebration, high knees and hands down, the whole deal. One thing about Odell Beckham Jr., he's got a sense of the flair and understands where he is in the country.
Yes, indeed. Playing up in Cleveland, Ohio. Jay, been a tough day. Ajayi, I beg your pardon. Been a tough day for him. Only 37 rushing yards, 2 yards per carry. 2-minute warning. This thing's not over yet.
Game is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Welcome back to South Florida. The Dolphins trying to tie a ribbon around this one, but the 49ers, who in recent weeks have really let things get away from them in the fourth quarter. It looked like it was going that direction today. I mean, they felt like they were running into 12 Jason Taylors for a while there. And now all of a sudden they're very much in this thing, down by 7 at the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, but which guy can make a play for him? Can you make a play so you don't have to just stop him and have your offense go the distance with not much time left on the clock?
Incomplete. 5 seconds run off the clock. And we welcome those of you who have been watching the Atlanta Falcons get another win today, 38-19 over the Arizona Cardinals.
It's a nice job of route reading by Ward, avoiding any type of pickoff play, then having the discipline to look and lean into the receiver.
I got to tell you, fellas, these last two drives, if the Dolphins don't close this thing up, Adam Gase is going to come under serious fire for the calls he's made. You know, he talks about being aggressive, and he learned that from Mike Martz. But they have run the ball once in the last 2 series with a chance to really get a first down or 2 and close this thing out.
I think his play calling has been dictated in some part by not having that left side of that offensive line where he's comfortable enough to run it. Felt more comfortable throwing it with Ryan Tannehill.
When you look at the AFC playoff picture, I mean, Miami's right there. If the Dolphins can win, they go to 7-4. Kansas City and Denver.
Don't we have a big one this week?
Yeah, they play one another in Denver. Ravens look like they're going to hold off the Bengals at the end to go to 6-5. Same for Buffalo. The Titans would go to 6-6. So there's a lot of teams bunched together there.
And Houston is down in their game.
Tannehill 3 touchdowns. Kaepernick's had an excellent game. One might argue it's his best game of this season.
I'm not even going to argue it. I don't think there's any question to me. How about you, Chris?
No, I think he's played well.
It's as close to the Colin Kaepernick we saw in the good days as we've seen since he's made his return.
They must seem like a long time ago. Now they hand it off. But it appears as though Ajayi is short. In fact, he is short. So now you have to spend a timeout if you're the 49ers.
Yep.
You'll stop the clock. A punt is coming up. You'll have 1 timeout left. And you're going to be right around 1:40 left to go in this game with a chance to tie it up.
And that call by Adam Gase right there was saying, defense, I'm putting it in your hands to go win it.
And you just talked, Tom, about the aggressiveness of Adam Gase and the influence of Mike Martz, you know, about what he will do. I think that aggressiveness will switch to his defense now, because we've seen, Chris pointed it out, that they're making sure they keep plays in front of him, don't throw it over our heads, bleed the clock down on defense. In this situation, I think Vance Joseph be a little more aggressive here. I don't think he'll just sit back and wait. I think he's going to play a little bit more tighter coverage and maybe get after him a little bit.
So if they needed a field goal, then yeah, I think now I still play it safe. I keep the ball in front of me. You have to play the percentage.
I think you're right about that, but I don't think it'll be as loose as we've seen. Okay? I think he's going to tighten it up some. That's just we're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah, you can do it either way. Whatever you're comfortable with.
No, it's easy. We're very comfortable. Yeah, here. I'm not down there with Billy and Vance.
Carr puts a foot on it. Short punt. An excellent field position. 37-yard line for the 49ers. Talked about Kaepernick. 24 of 37, 245 yards in the air, 3 touchdown passes. And bear in mind, you're talking about Kaepernick had a total of 7 all year long, and Kaepernick has rushed for 89 yards. He has had an excellent game.
Since you brought that up, question, partner. Do you spy him in this situation so he doesn't get those unbroken plays, or you hope to cut him down, or do you bring that 5th man as pressure to try and keep him in the pocket?
Well, I think what you do is play coverage first, and I have my 2 inside guys with the bull rush and try to keep Kaepernick in front of you.
1:44 to go. 49ers down to 7 with 1 timeout remaining. Kaepernick dancing around and just throws it away.
Well, we see how it started. They played zone. They showed man, and they dropped off late and keeping everything in front of them. Maxwell was about 12 yards deep right here. See, it looks like man, but watch once the ball is bailed right there, he's going to end up right here to keep the ball in front. See him bail out of there?
Bail technique.
Beautiful. It's a great job. They're going to give him all the underneath stuff. That's the smart play.
1:37 to go from the 37-yard line. Kaepernick again under pressure. Penalty flag down, and again he's forced to just throw it out of bounds. Took a big hit. Duo of both Branch and Wake chasing Kaepernick.
They changed it up there. They went tighter coverage underneath with people deep as safeties.
Holding. Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty.
So
second down.
Trent Brown, and he's working on Wake, who just has that speed, and we talked about run the hoop. See that right hip open up? That allows him to get some depth on the snap of the ball. And he got his hands just outside right there and grabbed Wake to slow him down.
Don't forget, Cameron Wake is 34 years old and coming off of a torn Achilles.
He has been
and still has incredible quickness and get off.
Amazing to play. It's hard to believe any player of any substance coming out of a place like Penn State gets undrafted.
But he tore it up in Canada, didn't he? I mean, he tore it up. And he told us in our meeting, all I'm about now is winning. Because in Canada, he got to the semifinals of the Grey Cup twice. Has never been to the playoffs with the Dolphins.
You got Sue lined up here at defensive end. Different look.
Kaepernick to Carlos Hyde. Closing speed by Andre Branch. 3rd down coming up.
Smart play. Dropped 8, rushed 3. That's what you have to do. You play the percentages. Excellent call by Vance Joseph.
Clock continues to run, and the 49ers just now getting over the ball. Welcome those of you who watch the New Orleans Saints roll on, scoring 49 today. Here the 49ers having one more crack at him. It's a 4th down after that completion. 11 yards coming up. Dolphins have won 6 consecutive games. 49ers have lost 9 in a row. First player in 49er history today with 3 touchdown passes or more and rushing for better than 80 yards in a single game. But you know, Charles Davis, as those of you join us also that were watching the Giants 27-13 win over the Cleveland Browns, you know, I'm sure that if you ask Colin Kaepernick, this has got to be really nice to play this well considering the surgeries he's come all the way back from. But you said that word win.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. 3 surgeries in the offseason, wasn't ready to go when the season started. Gabbard had the job, working his way back. This is the best we've seen him. This is as close to the Colin Kaepernick you knew back in the day.
Yep.
But the bottom line is, unless it pays off in a win, Chris, it's not going to matter to him.
And it's just a credit to the 49ers how they hung in there. Being 1-9, believe me, it's easy to quit.
All right, well, he has one more shot at it. It's not over yet. They need to get to the 48-yard line. Under a minute, 4th down and 11. Complete for a first down. And running out of bounds is Torrey Smith. So the hopes are still alive for the 49ers.
So we've been wondering, where's Torrey Smith been for the day? Watch him come across field here. Gets the lean, comes across, and really did a nice job not getting. But look at the eyes of Colin Kaepernick. They never came down to feel the rush, kept them downfield, kept it alive.
41 seconds left. That's Strone. He needs to get out of bounds, and he does at the 43-yard line. 34 seconds remain.
You know, they actually had that play covered. But McCain, coming from the safety spot, was playing a thief at about 12 yards to take that dig away from Torrey Smith. And he just let Torrey Smith run past him. Kaepernick normally tucks and runs, eyes downfield like you said. They're in control. They know what they want. You just got to hold up your protection and not hold. You get a costly penalty or a sack.
34 seconds left. Ball at the 44-yard line. Down the middle of the field. And it's incomplete. Had an eye on McDonald, who was shaken up on the last 49er drive. 30 seconds left.
They did a good job of converging here. Remember the big play earlier in the game? McDonald down the middle of the field. Alonso was hunting him up, but he gets over the top. And there, Issa Abdul-Quddus, who has really been a nice addition to this team, makes a play on the ball. You know what else you've got right now? Some tired pass rushers for Miami. Remember, Mario Williams went out. They can't run him out there in this situation.
They're down in 7. Kaepernick, he'll be able to run for a first down here. And he will stay on his feet. They're out of timeouts. He's at the 23-yard line, and that clock is running. Down to 18-17, trying to get him and spike it at the line of scrimmage, we think. And you always say we think after what we saw Ben Roethlisberger do a couple of weeks ago.
And of course, Dan Marino made that famous first, didn't he? As a Miami Dolphin against the Jets way back when. But you've got tired pass rushers. It's not the same snap in them because they can't rotate guys. And there's the gap that you've talked about all game, Chris.
Yeah, and it's Ndamukong Suh did not create extension, so he could not get off the block. And Kaepernick takes it and gives them 2 shots at the end zone. Now, if I'm Miami, I am defending that back line. Nothing over my head. I'm stopping about the 5 or the 3-yard line and making sure that goal line, there's a picket fence around it.
Chip Kelly saying, come on, the play clock is down to 2.
Right there.
They get it off, and Kaepernick going for the corner, and out of bounds. Clock with 5 seconds left, so now you have to take your shot at the end zone. Boy, they complete that ball, and they've got a legitimate shot at this thing.
Do you remember the good old days with the rules that you could be forced out and they could call it a completion, and that got eliminated? Because that might have been in play there, Tom.
It's that switch route again, Charles. You see they're going to exchange responsibilities. The ball's pretty well thrown to the outside.
But that's close. Look at Curley. Let's take a look at the feet. There's a catch. Hit. I don't know if I'm San Francisco. You got to take a look at that, don't you? That looked like a catch to me. I thought I saw both feet down.
Well, they'll review it under 2 minutes here. So they'll take a look at it.
I know initial blush, that's all I've got, but I'm going to tell you, I think it's a catch.
And so that changes your defense if the ball is placed down there where the reception occurred as Curley comes in right about at the 7-yard line.
There's the catch. Watch the feet. 1 down, 2 down.
The catch. Mike Pereira, do you agree watching back there in Los Angeles?
I think I will go with Charles Davis on this one. You got 2 feet down. You've got control all the way to the ground. I don't see the ball move. So to me, This is a catch, and of course replay has to stop it since you're inside of 2 minutes. And I think we'll have a first down here.
Well, that is quite a grab right there.
Heck of a catch. Heck of a catch. Body control, Mike. Got both of the Tootsies down. Inbounds. We can see it clear. I'm glad Mike Pereira's backing us on this one because I think that's a catch all the way.
Well, be careful what you wish for.
So here's a situation, guys. Now, so you know, from the 24-yard line, you don't have a bunch of plays to run the 3rd and 24, right? So when you move it down to the 7 or 8-yard line, now you're a whole normal 3rd down package is in play. And that's where Miami should probably then bring pressure to force Kaepernick to make a decision.
Again, keep an eye. He has control right there. Watch the feet. And it looks like 1-2 inbounds.
And remember what Mike described.
Maintain control all the way through.
See that?
Possession of the ball.
Because, yep, we know he's caught it, right? There's the catch. We know the feet are going to hit. 1-2. But as Mike described, the process of the catch all the way through to the ground. See the ball stay in there in the crook of the arm? It's a catch to me.
Great effort by
Curley.
Just tremendous, man.
Taking so long. It's either a catch or it's not.
Well, how about the 49ers, though?
Yeah.
A 1-9 team and down like they've been down.
Yep.
They're not quitting.
It was 31-14 at one point, guys. They could have folded 10. They did not.
All right. Here he comes.
Here we go.
I mean, I think it's not just under the hood. He's probably talking with the control center in New York to make sure they're all on the same page and saw the same thing.
So he has his whole playbook, Chip Kelly does now, on his normal 3rd down packages. Now, if you're Miami, I say you blitz.
The receiver got both feet down and maintained control of the ball after contact with the ground. It is a completed catch. It will be San Francisco's ball, 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. 5 seconds on the clock. The clock will start on the snap.
If you're confident in playing man-to-man coverage, you blitz right now. You force Kaepernick to make a quick decision. The other thing that you do when you do that, you eliminate his possible escape routes to run the ball into the end zone.
All right, well, here we go. This is it.
I might have to have someone stay right there and say, where Colin goes, you go. I don't want him hot-footing it into the end zone on me.
Empty backfield. Kaepernick incomplete, but 2 seconds left. It's not over yet. That was a first down play. Byron Maxwell on the coverage of Smith.
Top of your screen, look at him stay there, patient in his back pedal, and then comes underneath to make a play on the football. And that's confident. You asked if they were confident in man coverage. It's very confident play by Maxwell to make a play on the ball instead of just going for the upfield arm.
Well, it looked like Maxwell may have gotten away with contact there in the end zone.
I think they're going to let them play that out at this stage of the game.
2 seconds left. Carlos Hyde standing right in front of Kaepernick out of his shotgun. And here it is. Kaepernick will run it and denied the end zone on the game's final play by Ndamukong Suh.
What an effort by Suh.
And what an effort by the 49ers and Kaepernick. For a team that's lost 9 in a row, right down to the final play, the final 2 precious yards to tie.
There's Suh right here, number 93. Watch him chase down Kaepernick. Now, I think Colin makes a mistake right here by trying to cut back. You have that shorter time. You have to get to that pylon and use your speed and go airborne. And look at Ndamukong Suh not quitting, closing along with Kiko Alonso, number 47, will come in late to the picture.
Alonso came from inside out to take away the cutback lane. But you mentioned the effort of Suh, phenomenal.
So the Dolphins win their 6th straight game, first time since 2005. Back to Miami.